Hello and sunny Bonani. It's just gone 7:30 Central African time. It is Tuesday, the 24th of January, and it being a Tuesday, of course, it is the return of the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. We have 13, and I'm informed soon to be 14 drivers that will be racing out here in Azerbaijan and Baku. 24 laps. We'll have a full qualifying session, so Q1 might not be that much pressure, considering how many drivers we have on board. But look at that. We have debutantes, that being Django for Mercedes, Tabo T92 for Red Bull, Mex for McLaren is also here. How will they fare? They had a very good time, did those three down in Tier 2. But of course, it's a different kettle of fish. It's a new level, a new set of challenges for all of them to face. Don't forget Donathan Laka as well. He was racing for Red Bull last year, but this time, of course, he is in the colors of Ferrari, I would say. And his partner, his teammate rather, is Ensika, aka Brown Boy, who really lit things up and tore it up in the top tier Breakaway League Racing. Unfortunately, we do not have Brown Boy on the grid here today, but I'm looking forward to, taking you through a pretty interesting and eventful race. Welcome to Baku, Azerbaijan, one of the most scenic and beautiful cities out here. And we do hope that we will get a chance to appreciate that scenery with a little bit of sunlight, or we'll have a sprinkling of drama with a sprinkling of a shower or two. Well, as far as Q1 is concerned, it's clear skies. 18 minutes they will have to make sure that they just set a banker lap. Not too much pressure out here. As you can see, there's pretty much, if we had a full grid, 5 drivers would have been getting knocked out, but all they need to do is just keep that car together, keep things clean, keep things consistent, and set a decent banker lap. And then we'll get a sense of how they will fare and how they will look as soon as we get through to Q2. I do wonder if these drivers will kind of show us what they're made of, show us their best, put their best foot forward from the very beginning, or if they'll just take it easy and take things step by step and just hold off their true pace up until Q3. If you've just joined us, welcome. It's Q1. They have 18 minutes to make their presence felt as far as the timesheets are concerned. I would love to know how you expect the likes of Don, Tabo, Mex, Smirch, Django, the new guys to the top tier. How will they fare? Will they challenge the likes of C-Clay, the 3-time reigning champion? Man, oh man, oh man. For the first time in a very long time, C-Clay has a teammate with a pretty much a comparable pace. And, he's been asking for many, many seasons, for many, many years, to have a teammate with whom he can battle out on track, and a teammate who could share the load as far as the race or the battle for the Constructors' Championship is concerned. Now, with so much pace joining the Tier 1 field, the likes of Tabo T92 and Don and Mex, it's not going to be a straightforward battle as far as securing that Constructors' Championship is concerned. Justice is here, aka Context. Well, we've seen what he could do in Tier 3. He is now in Tier 2 as Justice. He's also in the comment section. It's good to see you here. Definitely Duke is so hyped for this, as are we all, Duke. Duke is another pacey driver in the Breakaway Racing League stable. Let's see how they fare now. C-Clay is still completing his outlap. We'll see how he fares towards the end of this Q1. And I'm so keen to see whether or not they will be pushing from the very beginning, or whether or not they will save their true pace for Q2 and indeed Q3. Who will be on pole position? It's the most tantalizing, deliciously curious qualifying session that we've had in a long time, but it's still only Q1. Smirch Django is the furthest ahead, but he's going to slow down and allow the Aston Martin to surpass him, that being the Aston Martin of Tsepo Temba. who will now be the first person to set a banker lap in this qualifying session. We'll see how Seppo Temba fares. He is now well and truly comfortable. Remember, not so long ago, he himself was a debutant, but he took to this top tier like a duck to water. And right now, he's going to be the first to take to this Baku street circuit and attempt to set the timing sheets alight. Here comes Seppo Temba into turn one, tight onto the chicane. And of course, he's going to make sure that he lines it up, keeps it cool, calm, steady all the way through this circuit. He's going to open up that rear wing and send it tearing down that first DRS straight through all the way through to turn number 3. Slows down, no issues there. Seppo Temba, he knows he just needs to set a decent banker lap. And as you can see on the timing sheets on your left, Kapoza and Sikle have fitted a set of medium compound tires, so perhaps they're trying to save as many of their soft tires as possible. Seppo Temba goes through clear sector 1 with a time in the high 39 seconds. We're going to see what his sector 2 split will be as we hop on board with the Aston Martin driver. Went quite heavy onto that. Ooh, has to make a little bit of an adjustment. Into the castle section comes Seppo Temba, taking all of the track limits. He's playing on the fine margins of the limits, and he has a huge moment and has to hit the brakes and trying not to hit the wall. Seppo Temba, a moment with his heart in his mouth there. That'll definitely cost him a couple of seconds, and as he does that, there is, of course, the fast-running Mercedes duo right behind him. Let's go Django, says Rabico, cheering on one of his close friends. Look out for Rabico, another superbly fast driver. Seppo Temba, meanwhile, will be the first to set a time here. We saw him make that mistake in Sector 2. Let's see how the rest of his lap goes along. Remember the time, the qualifying, the top time in Tier 2 yesterday was in the 1 minute 41s. I do wonder what kind of times we will see as this qualifying session goes on. Seppo Temba will be the first to set those timing sheets of lights at a 143.4. Here comes the Mercedes of Smirch Django, 141.828, already into the 141s in Q1. Django wasting no time. His teammate Sikle crosses the line with a 142.0. Meanwhile, Mandla Romeo was on the verge of crossing. The finish line is going to be 143.486 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Here comes Mello the Mello in the colors of Williams. No, it's actually Zotal for Alpine, who has just crossed the line, P4, rather P3, 143.0. Mandla Romeo has crashed out. Mandla crashes out of Q1 and completely wastes an opportunity to go through to Q2 without any pressure. Mandla is out. The Alfa Romeo driver has crashed just after turn 2, and he is out of this session, meaning the likes of D-Wax, Kapoza, Loveness, Mex, and everyone who is yet to set a time can just breathe easier knowing that all they need to do is just bring it home. Tabo T92, another debutant in the top tier of Breakaway Racing League. How will he do? He will cross the line, P4, 143.157. Here comes Mello the Mello, meanwhile. P5, just behind Tabo. Mello the Mello, we will look forward to seeing a lot more of him. Of course, we've seen him challenge the top runners in seasons past. Can he do that this year and beyond? It's a tougher field, a lot more pace added to the grid, but we do know what Mello is comprised of and what he can do given the right circumstances. So he will be one to watch very carefully. The big story of the day in Q1, Mandla Romeo has crashed out, and he will take no further part in this qualifying session. Here he is now in the comment section. Says preseason anxiety, perhaps to blame for that incident which saw him crash out right after turn 2. Well, we've got 5 drivers on their out laps currently, 2 of whom are debutants. So we'll watch and see how they're fare in this qualifying session. Tier 1 debut, let's go Django. That was Rabico in the comment section. He says we're going to see a time in the 39s. Do you agree with Django? Remember, yesterday's times were in the low 1 minute 40s, or rather 1 minute 41s. Will we see a time in the 1 minute 39s in the top tier? Well, let us know. Django, or rather Donovan Laka, is one of the 5 drivers currently on their out lap, and he is, of course, another one making his debut. It's fine to start on hard, says Rabico. And Mandela agreeing with him there. Bad Mercedes, this is going to be a long season, says Kid K. Of course, speaking, of course, to the pace of Django and Cycle, who already topped the time sheets. Meanwhile, it's the rookie, the debutant, in the colors of Ferrari. Don Lacca is flying the flag of the Scuderia alone. His teammate, that being Brown Boy, not represented on track here today. What can Don Lacca do? Here he comes now through turn number 3. No incident for him over here. He will take this right hand. He's going to have to be very, very careful to carry enough minimum speed without going too close to the wall. No such issues for Jonathan Lacca. We've seen, look at that, Sector 1 split, 36.2. He's looking very, very good. Remember, other drivers cleared Sector 1 in the 39s. So Jonathan Lacca already looking to lay down an early marker, and he's absolutely going for it. He's not sandbagging. He's showing his true pace. Remember, as they lay down more rubber on this track, it will become even more grippier. The track will get even more faster as these sessions go on. Hoping and considering, of course, if we do not get any adverse weather, Jonathan Lacca came through unscathed through the castle section and sends it screaming down towards this corner. A slow left-hander, has no issues there. Don Lacca looking absolutely good, solid for the Scuderia. His Sector 2 split is a 118.1. So Don Lacca looking very, very good to be challenging the top runners thus far. If he can keep it together on board, we go with him. No issues. He's absolutely on the limit, and he is looking good for Ferrari. H gear screaming down towards the main straight. Of course, it's Jonathan Lacca. What'll it be when he crosses the line? It's going to be a P3, 142.613. How's that for the rookie? Meanwhile, the other rookie, that being Max in the colors of McLaren, goes even quicker, 141.928, just a tenth off the time-topping Smurfs Django. The rookies are here. There is a new sheriff in town. A couple of them, I would say, look how good they look. Max sets a P2 time in Q1 thus far. 8 minutes of the session to go. He is currently the second quickest man out here on the track. Meanwhile, Max's teammate Caboza, also perhaps as the seasons roll on, he's fast becoming a veteran. He's fast becoming a staple of the top tier. Here he comes now across the main straight, and he will cross the line. P11 on a set of medium compound tires, 144.098. Remember, there are only 13 drivers out here on track, so all you need to do is just set your banker lap, and you're well and truly through to Q2. So Caboza is out on a set of medium compound tires. He sees no need to be showing his true pace, and he sees no need to be using those soft tires as yet. He wants to have as many fresh softs as possible into Q2 and Q3. Caboza, currently P11, 144.098. Max is still out on track, of course. He's making his way back to the pits, presumably. A very good banker lap, 141.9. Currently one of only 2 drivers in the 141, so looking good is the rookie Max debut race. And 2 debutants currently topping the timesheets. Well, Seaplay, it's not going to be straightforward this season. Looking forward to a titanic clash as far as the Drivers and Constructors Championship is concerned. Here comes Don returning to the pit. And who else is currently out? It's Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax. Is he going for it? Is he pushing as things stand? We'll get a sense. That is a Sector 1 split. The answer is yes. He's definitely given it a proper go. He's gone significantly quicker there. And his Sector 1 split doesn't quite look like it might be challenging the top runners thus far. But let's see how his Sectors 2 and 3 go. Oh, has a huge moment and kisses the wall there. We do wonder if he's lost his front right end plate there. The answer is no, but he's definitely slowed down. He's eased off the throttle, and he's going to abandon this hot lap attempt. And almost going too hard into that wall there, but he's managed to keep that car intact. And Ngawako, D-Wax, in the colors of AlphaTauri here today. I do wonder how he will fare this season, and indeed for the race today. Tabo T92, another one of the newbies. His best time thus far, that 143.157, but here he comes now through turn 2. Onto the first DRS straight. He's got that rear wing open, and he's hurtling down towards turn 3. No issues for the Red Bull driver. Goes quite close to the wall there on his right-hand side, but nothing too much to worry about for the Red Bull driver. His partner, of course, is, I believe, Lungs. He's gone slightly slower. His second one split is still in the 36 seconds, but Tapiso is meanwhile content to retire in the pit. So Tapiso doesn't look like he's had a crash that forced him to retire, but Tapiso's just, oh! And Tabo T92 crashes it, he sends it straight into the wall in the castle section and becomes the second driver to lose his car in the Q1. So Tabo T92 alongside Romeo will take no further part in this qualifying session. Tabo T92, oh my word, on your debut race, you were looking okay, but the castle section is where he came unstuck. Tabo T92 is out. The second of the big stories in this qualifying session so far. Meanwhile, C-Clay has set a Sector 1 split in the 31 seconds. So he's taken off those medium compound tires, and he is well and truly about to assert his dominance on the entire field here as things stand. If the rest of his lap goes swimmingly as his Sector 1. No issues through the castle section for the three-time champion. Where is Loans? Asks Kulo. He is not here. I hope he could perhaps be taking part in the race proper, but we will have to just wait and see. Here comes C-Clay on the limit, as is usually the case with the champion. It's Sector 2. His Sector 2 split is 5/10 quicker, 117.122. He is looking good. Next, Django, be prepared to possibly lose either P2 or P1 as things stand in the final part of Q1. 3.5 minutes of the session to go. It's the champion. It's C-Clay on the main straight. He will open up that rear wing to send that car hurtling down towards the line, and he will cross the line. P1. It's a 141.577. A couple of tenths quicker than his teammates. It's a Mercedes 1-2, at least in Q1. There's still a lot of this session to go. Most of the drivers are still in the pits, and that, ladies and gentlemen, that, fine folks, is the pedigree of a three-time champion. C-Clay laying down the early marker. Malusi the Malusi, Mello the Mello is currently in P8, and well, we currently are seeing drivers leaving the session. Do wonder, just want to make sure that we haven't lost. All right, just making sure that everything is still on track here, folks. I'm just seeing a lot of drivers leaving the session. Yep, everything was still online as far as I'm concerned. So we might be having a situation where the lobby is being shifted. We'll be, just give us a couple of seconds. We're just sorting out some technical gremlins on our side, but it looks like the session was migrating the host there. So we're just making sure that everything is fine on the lobby host side. And I do believe we might be getting a lobby switch here. So do stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. A very warm welcome to you all today. We have plenty of entertainment All right, folks, we're just making sure that we're hopping into the correct lobby and that everything is good. As you saw on the stream, Seatley, we did catch you get onto that fastest lap, but right now we're going to make sure that we are in the correct lobby and that we catch the rest of Q2 and Q3 here. So thank you very much for choosing the top tier Breakaway League Racing. We're getting straight back into the lobby to catch the rest of this qualifying session. Right, here we are. Seatley was the quickest person in Q1, and those are your drivers. Those are the 12 that will be fighting it out here. Tapiso, Don, Malusi the Malusi, the King Rapture is also here. Don't you forget another one of the debutantes as things stands. Rabico says Seatley is taking one of the hardest turns in T4 is crazy. Speaking about the pace there, Seatley, of course, was noting that super quick time that we saw, and once again, I do see a couple of the drivers leaving the session here. So I'm just going to get back to you in a second to make sure that everything is in order. Right, folks, we're just going to make sure that we are in the correct lobby. Thanks for the heads up to Piso and drivers. We're going to make sure that we carry on with this qualifying session. And I'll tell you what, the addition of the likes of Josh, aka Damnesia, and the King Rapture, another debutant, are going to make things even more interesting and even more engaging as this session goes on. Watch out for King Rapture. That is all I will say. He is sensationally quick, and his race starts are definitely something to be wary of. And that goes for all of the drivers out here. As you can see now, the King Rapture is here. I do believe Josh, aka Damnesia, also might just be in the running here. All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us. We're back. It's a new and a fresh lobby. It's qualifying all the way from the top. So this, it seems, is redemption for Mandla. It's redemption for Tabo T92. Although I don't see him here in the list, so I do wonder if he will join in time to be able to take further part in this. So, Mandla, that preseason or first race anxiety is gone now. Hopefully, we will see you do your thing and give these guys a lot to think about as this session rolls on along. Look at that. Even and Nebo is here. The King Rapture is here. And of course, Loveness and Josh, aka Damnesia, they're also here representing Alfa Romeo. So that will be very, very interesting indeed. $18 they've got. We've already seen what C-Clay can do. 141.5 was his quickest at his first attempt. Can he replicate that? Will Django try to give it another go? Thankfully for the drivers, it looks like it's going to be good weather, clear weather. Once again, C-Clay is opting once again to start on those medium compound tires. He looks like he's going to save his set of soft tires as much as he possibly can. Hopefully King Rapture can sort out his network issues and make sure that he is well and truly part of this session. One of the Alfa Romeos is out. Is it Mandla? Yes, it is. Mandla is here. And he's going to be one of the first drivers out on track alongside Tapiso. We'll see how he fares in this fresh, rejuvenated, restarted lobby. Tapiso was very cool and confident and looking very, very, very comfortable in the second tier of Breakaway League racing. Worked very, very hard, had to fight to maintain his place here in tier 1. Found himself on the podium as well at some point in the previous season. So he's definitely looking to keep that momentum going and maintain and consolidate his spot in the top tier of Breakaway League racing. Will that be the case by the time we reach the halfway point of the season, the end of the season? We'll be talking about Tapiso maintaining his place without any issue. Well, I, for one, would certainly hope so. Tapiso is paired with none other than Loveness this season, an interesting pacey pairing. Let's see how he will fare now as he takes the final sector and looks to begin a fresh lap. Tapiso for Team Haas with 15.5 minutes of the first qualifying session to go. Here he comes down the main straight, and on board we will go with the Haas driver. Takes turn 1 without incident, looking to carry as much minimum speed as possible. Ooh, you have to pass a slow-moving, I think Red Bull it was there. Or was that the King Raptor or Mellow the Mellow? No, it was Mellow the Mellow. I think that's the pass alongside there. So very, very close shave. Actually, it was Josh, aka Damnesia, who was on his outlap. But Tapiso looks to have abandoned his attempt. He eased off the throttle quite a lot there. Yeah, he's definitely backing out of that hot lap attempt. He's going to give it another go fairly soon. Meanwhile, Mandla is pushing. And Mandla is now making his way through turn 3 on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. He came unstuck in Q1 at the attempt number 1 last time, but he's going to just look to keep it together, set his banker lap, and take it easy coming all the way back into the pit. His sector 1 was fairly clean. Of course, it's purple. He will be the first to set a quick lap. Most of the drivers that are currently out have yet to begin, but Tapiso abandoned his attempt, remember. Here comes Mandla through the castle section, unscathed. Try and carry as much minimum speed as possible. Left-hander, no issues, a yellow flag ahead. Slow-moving car making way for Mandla. It's the Haas of Tapiso, who's just making sure not to be in the way of Mandla, who will be the first to set the early marker here. And no issues there. No issues with coming too close to the wall. Mandla, Sector 2 split is in the 119.421. So that's the early marker to watch by the time you get to that Sector 2 split to see whether or not it'll be a time challenging the top of this timing tower. 13 minutes 45 seconds of this section to go. It's Madla on the main straight, opening up their rear wing, screaming down towards the start-finish line, and it'll be a 43.949 as the initial attempt. What about Mello the Mellow? No, he's still making his way. Zotal, meanwhile, for Alpine, tops that. 142.393 for Alpine. Seppo Temba tucks right behind the time set by Zotal. What about Tepiso? Nope, that's not a banker lap thus far. Cicle on a set of medium compound tires sets a time in the 141.581 on mediums. His teammate Jambo quicker by a factor of just over a tenth. Mello the Mellow finally crosses the line with a 141.506. So no messing around in the early stages here. They're all pretty much showing us their cards, laying down their early markers. One of the McLarens is on the verge. Caboza, it was, who's just crossed the line with a 143.466. His teammate, Mex, is not that far behind. He's on the verge as Mex. He opens up that rear wing and will cross the line for a 142.096. It's good enough for P4 as things stand. So, Mercedes, Williams, Mercedes, McLaren are your current top four drivers. There's an AlphaTauri on the verge of setting his lap. That is none other than Ngawako D-Wax. With just over 12 minutes of the session to go, on board with the AlphaTauri driver we go. It's not looking very quick. It's only in the 148, so Ngawako D-Wax will probably only be really giving it a push now. The Red Bull of Josh, aka Damnesia, is only good enough for a 143.869 currently, as things stand. There's a slow-moving Alfa Romeo in Sector 3. I do wonder if all is all right with Mandla. He was going quicker. Nope, but he's bringing it back to the pit lane. Meanwhile, Tepiso, we're about to get a sense of his first representative lap for Haas. What'll it be? 144.266. It's only P10. He will need to give it another go. He's already done 2 laps on this set of soft compound tires. So he's definitely got his work cut out for him. King Rapture, can he come back? Can he reassert himself on this circuit? Well, remember, he might have lost the connection, did King Rapture. He needs to make it out of Q1 here and give himself as great a possibility to be fighting among the top runners by the time this race starts. If you've just joined us, welcome. It's the first race of Brakeaway Racing League. We're in Azerbaijan. We're in Baku. Smirts Django tops the timing sheets with his 141.4. It has to be noted that Cicle is not here to play around. He set a time in the top 3, did Cicle, 141.5 on a medium set of tires. So, well, I look forward to seeing what the champion Cicle can do by the time he gives it a proper go. Here we are now on board with the rookie, Donovan Laka. He was looking good before we switched lobbies into this fresh lobby. So let's see what he can do now. Sector 1. Comes through turn 3 without incident here. His sector 1 split is definitely going to be something to watch there. He had to adjust his line coming through that right-hander, did Don Laka. His sector 1 split is a 36.416. He's looking very, very good. We can expect him, as things stand, to be challenging the likes of Mex, possibly Cicle, depending on how his sectors 2 and 3 go on. And let's hope he can keep things together here. He comes through the castle section unscathed. Precise driving, precise in the way that he points that front wing of the car. Here he comes now, screaming through Sector 2 is Don. Driving on the limits towards the slow left-hander. No issues for the Ferrari driver. And he will take the left-hander without incident here. He's giving it all he's got. Brown Boy, that is Don's teammate this year for the Ferraris. Brown Boy is not here, so Don is Ferrari's only hope out here in Baku. What can he do? He sends that car screaming down towards the line. Will cross the line with a 142.346. A decent time by all accounts, but on this grid, it's only good enough for P5. He tucks right in between the McLaren of Mex and the Alpine of Zotal. Well. Isn't that interesting? And Nebo, that being Zotal's teammate, is currently giving it a go. He is going to towards the end of sector 2, and he carried so much speed there. He was really on the limit, was a Nebo, and he hits the wall and loses his front wing. And Nebo on the limit, but too much on the limit. He's gone over the limit. He's hit that wall, and he's lost his front wing, but he's still giving it a go, still pushing as much as he can. All he wants now is just to have that banker lap in the bag, and he hits the wall again, this time on the left-hand side, just before the main straight. And Nebo, will he be giving it a go, or will he just send it straight back into the pit lane? The answer is the latter. Straight back into the pit comes Nebo. And that looks like it's Tepiso who is following behind him quite closely. So not too many drivers out on track. The one who's definitely given it a proper push, a proper go, is Loveness. Tato, a.k.a. Loveness, has a Sector 1 split of a 35.9. So expect Loveness to be challenging to possibly knock Mex off his pedestal, depending on how his sectors 2 and 3 go. Loveness in the castle section. Loveness trying to carry as much speed as possible there, and he's not having too many issues there. The Haas driver on the limit and giving it a proper push, a proper go. Let's see how his his second and third sectors will go. Oh, no issues. And Tepiso, once again, in the pits. Tepiso is just happy to retire his car. He's confident. It's a split of a 117.2 at the end of Sector 2 for Loveness. He's looking good. He's looking pacey. The likes of Mex, Don, and Zotal might just be knocked down a peg or two. I do wonder what he can do now towards the end. Hurtling down towards the line. Opens up that rear wing. Sends the Haas screaming down the main straight. It's Loveness. It's Haas. It's a 142.050. It's P4. Tucks right behind Ciclay, who is back out on track in that Mercedes W13, and he's on soft this time is Ciclay. He's given it a proper push. His best thus far was a 141.581 on a set of mediums. So let's see what it'll look like now. We're on board now with Ciclay. The castle section for the man who wears the crown, currently on the limit, almost at a moment on the right, with his front right. But Ciclay, being a driver who's constantly on the limit, will push it until he cannot anymore, and this will be no such exception. Oof, almost has a moment with a wall, but he's on the limit. Is Ciclay, his Sector 2 split. It will be a 116.797, 4/10 quicker than his time. As things stand, Django, you are going to have to make way for your teammates. For the senior, is Ciclay going to be the standout, the clear number one driver as far as qualifying, as far as race pace, as far as race results is concerned? Well, time will tell as we wait for this race starter properly. He crosses the line, 141.156. The quickest time by some margin, by a factor of almost 3/10. It's a 1-2 once again for Mercedes as we go towards the end of Q1. Nebo, what can he do? We saw him lose a wing early on. Ban Kobe is here. He is represented in this lobby. And, he's one to watch as this session goes along. Ban Kobe, Teppo Temba, pacey teammates representing Aston Martin this season. And Gawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, and Romeo Mandla Massigo are currently the two drivers that are going to give it a go. It looks like Ngawako is actually trailing Mandla, so we'll watch and see how both of these drivers fare. Let's catch up with the comments. Toto is smiling wherever he is. Absolutely, C-Clay. This guy is fast, says Christopher Crash and Keze. He'll only smile here, he says. Meanwhile, Selby Sango, that being flashed by Sanale Macania earlier, was saying to C-Clay's time that it was a sign, do not set any fastest laps. You make the game glitch, C-Clay. Well, interesting times. Mandla and D-Wax are giving it a proper go. Looks like C-Clay might be making his way back to the pit lane. He's going to have to make way here because Mandla is lining up to give it a proper push here and set a decent backer lap to such an extent that he doesn't have to worry about making it through to Q2. Mandla, turn 1 without incident. He's just going to look to improve drastically on his current 143.949. Takes turn 2 without any incident. D-Wax follows closer behind. I do wonder what they can do. They're currently pretty much in the order that you see on the timing sheets. It is the same order that they are on track because everything Mandla does, D-Wax will do soon after. Didn't care so much minimum speed through that right-hander. His sector 1 split is slower currently, say 36.8. He's about 8/100th of a second slower than his previous best time. Coming to the end of sector 1 is Mandla, so definitely work to do through sectors 2 and 3. Castle section. The one where Tabo T92 came unstuck so unceremoniously. What about Mandla? Can he come through unscathed? The answer so far is yes. On board, Alfa Romeo, Mandla, aka Romeo, into the slow left-hander. Oh, carrying a lot of speed there, but no issues with that wall. Mandla needs to send that car, man. So says Tindo in the comment section. His sector 2 split is in the 119s. At least he's gained 3.7 tenths, or 3.5 tenths. From his previous best time. Ooh, so close to the wall. There is Mandla. He's on the limit. He's sending it. Tindo lost him to send it. Mandla is doing exactly that. As it stands, he's going to be challenging possibly the life of Josh, aka Damnesia. Mandla crosses the line. P10 as things stand. He can breathe slightly easier and hope that the likes of Enabo do not to challenge him. Meanwhile, Ngawako D-Wax become the first driver to crash out in Q1. Ngawako D-Wax crashes out in that walled section just before the main straight. Ngawako will take no further part in this qualifying session. It's good news for Mandla because he now knows that he could breathe a sigh of relief. It's one less competitor to worry about as far as securing those Q2 spots are concerned. What about Ban Kobe for Aston Martin? He has just crossed the line with a 142.670 and it's going to be P8 for the Aston Martin driver whose teammate is still in the pits. Seppo Temba, a pacey pairing. Ban Kobe and Seppo Temba fought so fiercely when they were both just looking to make it to this top tier. And now they find themselves as teammates in tier 1. A pacey pairing will look eagerly to see what they can achieve in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. That's it for Q1. The quickest man on track is C-Clay, the 3-time reigning champion. And his teammate is not so far behind. Smirch Django, currently second quickest at the end of Q1. Mellow the Mellow, currently third quickest from Loveness and Mex, who make up the top 5. Don Laka is currently 6th quickest. Zotal 7th. Bad Kobe 8th. Pepito 9th. Caboza 10th. And Romeo Josh, aka Damnesia, Teppo Temba, King Rapture, currently in P13 and 14. And Nebo didn't set a lap. All he needed to do, and Nebo, was just to cross the line with a banker lap, but he didn't do so. So that might just be tickets for Nebo. Well, it looks like Esbuda will be taking part in the race, but Esbuda was not he was not on track on time to be able to set his own banker lap. So Esbuda will be starting this race from the back of the pack. That is Ban Kobe, who will come home in P8. Well, the pressure ratchets up a notch in Q2. Remember, more drivers will be getting knocked out. It's the fight, the battle to secure that spot in the top 10 shootout. C-Clay, Smirch, Jango, Malusi, the Malusi, the three quickest drivers thus far. And as you can see, and Nebo, D-Wax, King Rapture, Nebo and D-Wax will take no further part in the session. King Rapture also didn't set a lap. He lost that connection, but as you can see there, the margins are very, very thin, less than a second separating the top five. Crash, noting the pace of these top runners, it's going to be an absolutely tasty race in prospect. As Buddha is in the lobby, we will watch him when this race begins. Tindo says Tier 2, representing us well, flying the flag. This is a quick pack. I cannot wait for this race to start. Q2, Rapture is, well, still here. Perhaps it's still the ghost of Rapture, because he did lose his connection, and we saw him fall out of the lobby. One of the Aston Martins will look to come out and set a lap as quickly as possible. Rapture got hit by load shedding. Tragically, says Justice, aka Context. Seppo Temba is going to give it a proper go. Out here on the Baku Street circuit, Tindo says, I'm still haunted by the tragedy of the playoff results. Yes, I would imagine that would be the case in heartbreaking fashion, Tindo. And as you said, the former Tier 2 gang are out here representing as best as they can. Flying that flag oh so high. A lot of the drivers not wasting much time, not sitting around waiting for the track to evolve as these cars lay down more rubber. Seppo Temba, Zotal, Kaboza, Sichle, Mandla, aka Romeo, Tapiso, Malusi the Malusi, Don, and Smirch Jaguar. They're all out here on track. Offense in the comment section. It's good to see you out here in the comment section. Of course, Fensei doing a stellar job in Tier 2, winning in absolutely emphatic fashion. Looking absolutely sensational was Fensei in the colors of the Haas. But this man is Seppo Temba, no longer a rookie. He's now well and truly a part of the establishment. He has well and truly earned his place. He's part of the furniture. And, of course, we know what he can do. We've seen him challenge the top runners all throughout his season since becoming a part of the top tier. And right now, he's going to look to set a decent banker lap, perhaps to secure his spot in Q3 with just one lap. Can he do it? Well, here he comes. Sector 1, turn 1, without incident, carrying all that speed into Gear 2 through turn 2. Opens up that rear wing for that DRS as he hurtles down towards turn 3. I do wonder how much speed he will be carrying and what kind of split we'll be looking at towards the end of Sector 1. But he needs to navigate turn 3. He does so without incident. It's Seppo Temba, right-hander, doesn't look to go too wide and split with the wall. No, he does not. He will end his Sector 1 with Seppo Temba with a split of a 35.960. That will be one to watch as the field ticks on further and further along and keeps on setting more and more times. Here he comes. Oh! Seppo Temba carrying a lot of excess speed there. And Bundo, it's good to see you in the comment section. Absolutely. Here comes Seppo Temba in the comment section. Rather castle section of the comment section. He's looking good. He's looking slick. He's looking composed. Almost any moment there in the earlier part of the castle section, but Seppo Temba is sending it. He has his teeth absolutely gritted, and his eyes are absolutely locked and loaded, as is his focus. His Sector 2 split will be a 1 minute 17.986. Again, watch that closely as this Q2 session hurdles further and further along. It looks like one of the, it might be a Williams. Oh, following him closely behind. He might have had a moment with the wall in September, but he manages to carry as much speed as he possibly can. He's keeping it clean and calm, and together he opens up that rear wing. September will be the first to steady representative lap, and it will be a 142.410. That is definitely one to watch. Is that Malusi on the main straight? Yes, it is. Followed by one of the Mercedes. Malusi will set a 141.917, currently the quickest man through Q2. Where is Django? No, his teammate Cicle is on the verge of crossing the line. It is a 141.572. He's been consistent with the times of the 141.5s, has Cicle. Zotal, meanwhile, set the time in the 142s, 142.5 for him. Django, here he comes now. Will he match or better his teammate? The answer is P3, 142.262. Not as quick as Django this time. What about Romeo, a.k.a. Mandla, on the main straight? Rear wing open, P6, 142.663. There's a Haas on the way, and it looks like it is the Piso. His Sector 2 split was fairly decent. Here he comes. It's P3, 142.037. The times that are starting to trickle in, and you're getting a sense of what it'll take to be among the top runners. Caboza crosses the line, but they time in the 1 minute 41 today, 141.752. By far his quickest time that we've seen here today. Caboza laying down an early marker, early gauntlet. Meanwhile, Donathan Laka is P9 with that 142.747. They're starting to trickle in, folks. They're really starting to come in. Josh, aka Damnesia, currently on an outlap. Josh is today he's commandeered a Red Bull, but he is an Alfa Romeo driver, it must be noted. So yeah, his drive today will go towards Alfa Romeo. Donathan Laka bringing it back home. Also another rookie, currently P9. As things stand, he would definitely need to go on another hot lap to give it a proper push. There's just over 9 minutes of this session to go, as it looks like we have a yellow flag through Sector 3. One of the Aston Martins, Tepotemba, could he have perhaps hit a wall there? Let's go, Teps! Says Crash in the comments section. Tepotemba is moving very slowly. He might have hit a wall earlier, so he's just coming back into the pits. As is Zotal, having set his banker, which currently sees him P7. He's also not safe. Remember, only 10 drivers are going through out of this session and into the shootout, the battle for pole position. Look at that top three. Cicle, Caboza, Mello the Mello. It's the old gang. It's the usual suspects, all looking very good with those times. The 141 to Piso fighting hard with that 142.0237, currently P4 for him. A very decent shout, decent effort for him. Let's catch up with Josh, aka Damnesia. See how he fares. He's giving it his first push now. Sector 1 into turn number 3 for Josh. Tries to carry as much speed as possible. It looks like gear 2 through the left-hander, and it'll be back down to gear 2 through the right. Josh, aka Damnesia, will have a Sector 1 split of 35.977. Well, we have a time that's definitely going to be challenging some of these top runners here if he can keep it together through the castle section and indeed Sector 3. Josh, aka Damnesia, quite heavy on the curve there through the right-hander. Into the castle section, how will he fare? On the limit. Gear 2 though for him, a little bit of a steering correction, but he manages to keep it together. Oh, has another bit of a snap there. I wonder how much time that'll cost him. Hundredths of a second perhaps. Will it be a tenth perhaps? Well, he's got to push about 60% with his battery power remaining. Josh, aka Damnesia, giving it a proper push. Is Ban Kobe taking a sabbatical? Ask them in the comments section. Ban Kobe is currently in the pits. Let's see what he will do towards the end of the session. Josh, aka Damnesia, on the stretch of track where Ngawako D-Wax came on. Oh, and he hits the wall. That's Josh. He hits the wall. Does he lose a wing? No, he does not. He manages to keep his lap intact. I do wonder how much in terms of time that'll cost him. Josh on the main straight. Josh pushing to try and recover as much as he can. He will cross the line with a 43.002. It's P10 for Josh, aka Damnesia. Not safe enough to guarantee that spot. He's going to have to go once again. Give it another push. Give it another go. Josh, aka Damnesia, meanwhile, slightly behind him, but currently on his push lap is Loveness. Tato, that being Tapiso's teammate. His teammate is all the way up in the lofty P4. What can Loveness do? We saw how much pace he carried in Q1, and we got a sense of what he could do. So I wouldn't be surprised if Loveness put something decent here together. We know he has definitely got the pace to do so. His Sector 1 split, not too challenging the top runners. It's in the 1 minute, it's in the 36 seconds. So he's definitely got his work cut out, does Loveness, as he now makes his way towards the castle section. Gear 4 through the right-hander, trying to carry as much minimum speed as possible through the castle section on the limit. Almost at a moment, he definitely hit the wall on his front left. Did he lose a front left wing end plate? The answer is no. So not too much contact there. Loveness is going to look to keep it clean and stay as far away from any of those barriers between now and the end of his lap. Mex has rejoined the lobby. A couple of drivers having network connection issues. Let's see how Loveness will fare now. His Sector 2 split in the 1 minute 18.0. So he's not looking too bad, is Loveness. Might yet be in a shout to secure his spot comfortably, but he's going to need an absolutely sensational final sector. And here he comes now onto the main straight, and he will approach that DRS line where that rear wing will open. It's Loveness on the main straight towards the line for Haas. It's going to be a 142.648 P8. So, well, as things stand, he's definitely not safe. He's going to have to give it a proper push, a proper go. Someone who's doing exactly that is Zotal for Team Alpine. His teammate is not involved here, but we can expect to see Ennebo, the fellow Alpine driver, involved when the race proper gets started. Zotal, what can he do? He was roasted mercilessly last season as he was attempting to get used to driving on the racing wheel. He is now well and truly accustomed. Speaking to him in the paddock, Tempo Temba sets the quickest time. It's a 141.015. We're on the brink of breaching into the 1 minute 40 as we hurdle towards the end of Q2 here. Tempo Temba laying down the gauntlet. That was sensational from the Aston Martin driver. But we're on board currently with Zotal, who set a 117.243 by the end of Sector 2. He has gone about 7/10 quicker, has Zotal, than his previous best time thus far. Tempo Temba setting the pace, says Mfundo in the comment section. Absolutely. It's Zotal looking to challenge. It's Zotal looking to lay down his marker. It's Motal looking to let the grid know what he is made of this season on his Q2 run out here in Baku. 3.5 minutes of the qualifying session to go for Alpine. Zotal goes P3, also in the 1 minute 41 to say 141.634. A beautiful effort from Zotal on behalf of Team Alpine. Your top 5 drivers are all setting times in the 1 minute 41s. It is an absolutely sensational end to this Q2 qualifying. Mex, Bankobi, King Rapture, Damnesia, Don Laka, Romeo, can you secure your spots in Q3? Well, time will tell. But as things stand, it is absolutely crucial that you get it together. Here comes Mandla, now pushing towards the end here. And I think we might just be watching Mandla's. I just want to make sure this isn't an outlap that we're watching. 142.663 is the best that Mandla could do thus far, so he's definitely going to be pushing, giving it a proper go once again. Meanwhile, it looks like Don Laka, one of the debutants, who's currently on the brink of getting knocked out. Remember, only the top 10 drivers go through to Q3. What can the rookie do? Can we see at least 2, perhaps 3 rookies represented in the first ever Q3 in the top tier Breakaway League racing? Don Laka says, yes, you can! Possibly, because he is also in the 1 minute 41s. It's P5, 141.775 for the Ricky Ferrari driver, looking absolutely sensational. Is the brand new Ferrari driver setting a time to push the likes of Smirch, Django, Loveness, and Romeo possibly towards the brink here. Speaking of Django and the like, it does look like they're on another push laps. Both Mercedes cars are. So Cicle and Django will be looking to knock Seppo Temba and Aston Martin off their perch. Debutant, rookie, Smirch Django. Currently P8 after that initial banker lap. He's gone 4/10 quicker as through the end of Sector 2 there has Smirch Django. So he's looking good, but on the limit there, almost, from our perspective, having a moment with that ball on his left-hand side. Django, what can he do on his debut? Sinclair's the first driver into the 1 minute 40. It's a 140.607. Django, meanwhile, is only good enough for P6. So not quite punching at the top of the timing sheets, but someone who was back there in his familiar position at the top of the timing sheets is none other than the three-time champion Sinclair, the first driver to breach that barrier, the first driver into the 1 minute 40s. Now, earlier on in the comment section, Don Radico reckoned that we could be seeing a time in the 1 minute 39s by the time this qualifying session is over. Well, we still have Q3 to navigate, so don't you go anywhere. Meanwhile, Mex is attempting to give it a push. It's going to be a last chance saloon. He has one chance, does Mex, to give it a go because he does not have a banker lap with about 30 seconds of this session to go before he crosses that start-finish line. So depending on whether or not he can make it past here, if he's not comfortable, he could just have two bites at the cherry. Next, for McLaren, his teammate Caboza currently sits P5 on the timing tower. What can Mex do? Fresh is the rookie. It's only one shot that he possibly has here. He goes P2, 140.735. That is absolutely sensational from the rookie. The second driver today to breach that barrier into the 1 minute 40s, and he's just over a tenth behind the three-time champion Sinclair. Oh, it's been a beautiful qualifying session. I'm absolutely celebrating. Mello the Mello, who did set a decent 141 earlier, is now on the brink, but it looks like Josh, aka Damnesia, made it in. Cepiso, Loveness, Rapture, and Ban Kobe have been knocked out of this qualifying session. They're out in Q2. Malusi was out trying to give it a proper push and to make sure that he was not knocked out here. His 141.9, as things stand, will be enough. Django was back in the pits. The top running C-Clay is back in the pits. And Romeo is through to Q3 in the first race of the season. Romeo, who had that incident in the initial lobby, survived, and he showed his quality here, did Mandla. He is well and truly through to the third and final qualifying session. What a beautiful session it's been. This season is going to be lit, says the bank. Amaguni, absolutely. Teko Temba is goated, said Crash earlier on when he lit up the timing sheets. We're in for a hell of a season, says Crash. Absolutely. I am absolutely excited. Salivating! My mouth is watering. Malusi the Malusi is still pushing. He's just going to set a decent lap here as things seem. Another driver who took his time adjusting to the racing wheel, but has well and truly found his stride, and as the season has gone on, he has shown his quality again and again. Will he light it up the final time? It'll be one of the last across. It'll be P3, 140.971. We have three drivers who have breached that barrier and are in the 1 minute 40s. Sinclair from next, from Mello to Mello are your top three drivers. Tepo Temba went fourth quickest. Zotal went fifth for Alpine. Mandla, aka Romeo, P6. Caboza, P7. Don Lacka, 8th. Smirts Django, 9th. And Josh, aka Damnesia, P10. McLaren and Mercedes, the only two teams to have both their drivers represented in the third and final qualifying session. Django sandbagging and going to unleash everything in Q3. So says Manway. Tabang Amaguni asking, did Bertaux retire or not?
انت طلبت طبعا كاين خمير ولين قال لي خمير انا بنسبان انت انا خمير خمير بعدها داشي هي باكو.
Yes, it is very hot indeed. It's quite a hot, of course, qualifying session, and of course the drivers are lining up the timing sheets.
مرطافه ما درايف اي طريقه كما 140 هذا دني شو بيرج انا قلت له انت وين كان no
this year. Perhaps he will Sogola. Yes, perhaps he might just have a significantly harder time eking out race wins. He will be under immense pressure. That's your top 10, folks. C-Clay, Max, Malusi the Malusi, Tepo Temba, Zotal, Mandla Capoza, Don Lacka, Smirch Django, and Josh, aka Damnesia. Most of those top 10 using two sets of tires, with the exception, interestingly, of Capoza, who set his quickest time with just one set of South compound tires. Well, here we are, Q3. Give me your predictions.
P1 ubani ozoba yi-P2, ubani ozoba yi-P3.
I want your predictions for P1, P2, P3. Who's going to take pole position? Who's going to be in the front row? And who is going to be on the first spot in that second row? It's beautiful, clear skies out here in Azerbaijan. I do wonder what the weather has in store as far as the race is concerned, the race proper. Mex P3 reckons Justice, aka Context. He reckons that the rookie Mex will be in the top 3. What a beautiful story it's been for some of these drivers making their first ever appearance in the top tier Breakaway League racing, that being Mex, Django, and Don Laka. Already showing their class, showing their pedigree, their quality. And they have knocked out, of course, some of the seasoned runners and really laid down their marker. We've had 2 quali sessions. A lot of rubber has been laid on this track. And, of course, there's a lot of grip out here on the track. A lot of the rubber that's been laid by all of this hard running. It's been a hard fought. It's been such a fight. It hasn't been easy. People have, you just have no choice but to give it a proper go. You can't just sit back and try to come out late. Everyone's coming out pretty early here. I want to set that banker lap early, perhaps let on a fresh set of soft tires, and then really give it a proper go for that P1 spot. Cicle, always one to watch. Django, his teammate, is still in the pits. Kaboza is out here. We've seen Kaboza and the likes of Zotal fighting it out in previous sessions as well, so we'll see how he fares. But it looks like the person who's at the front of this entire batch of the top 10 is none other than Malusi the Malusi, who is followed closely behind by Seppo Temba. Let's see now how he will fare. Will Malusi, turn 1, no issues for him. Try to carry as much speed as possible. It was 4th gear through turn 2. And he opens up that rear wing. There's a slow-moving car, which is, of course, going to have to make way for Malusi to make his way past and take turn 3 as cleanly as possible. Look at that. No issues for Malusi through that left and right-hander. And we're going to get a sense of what the early marker for that Sector 1 split is. It's a 35.67 split for Malusi the Malusi. That is the early marker. I do wonder what Cicle has done slightly behind him. Remember, Cicle is about 2 cars behind Melo the Melo, and following Malusi the Malusi on his qualifying is Seppo Temba. And we're going to get a sense now of whether or not it'll be an unscathed castle section for Malusi. The answer there is yes. There was a yellow flag in Sector 2, I think, at the beginning of the castle section there. But Malusi will pay no mind to that. He's going to look to keep it clean towards the end of this session. He brakes cleanly. No issues with the wall there for Malusi the Malusi. His Sector 2 split will be in the 1 minute 17.044 at the end of Sector 2 for Malusi. Following closely behind, remember, is Seppo Temba and Cicle. Slightly behind him, there's a yellow flag that Malusi will pay no mind to. He is screaming down towards that start-finish line. It will be the early marker. The first time in Q3 will be 141.125. Seppo Temba is closely behind, and it's going to be 142. What about Cicle? Will he smash Malusi's 141.1? The answer is yes. It's a 140.764 for the champion, whose teammate is on the verge of beginning his hot lap. So we're going to catch up with Django in a little bit of a minute. Josh, aka Damnesia, is pushing. He's on the main straight. What kind of a time can he set? Followed closely by Zotal. P4 for him. What about Zotal? Oh, he comes back. He's abandoning his attempt. What about Mandla? He's on the main straight, followed by one of the McLarens. It could be Kapoza. It could be Max. He's also back. And it's Kaboza, actually, who's on the verge, and it's only P4, 142.5 for the McLaren drive. What about Don? The rookie has just set a time good enough for P4, 142.5. 143.213 on that fresh set of soft compound tires. Meanwhile, Mex is on the verge. He's pushing. He's about to face down, to stare down that main straight as he hurdles down towards the line. Mex for McLaren, what can he do? Towards the line, here he comes. It is going to be a 140.872. He's so close to the champion. He is literally he's just over a tenth. He's within a tenth of the champion, Mex, the rookie, looking absolutely sensational in his first ever qualifying session in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Meanwhile, Django, that being C-Clay's teammate, what can he do? His Sector 2 split is a 116.302. We are on the brink of something potentially special here. Can he knock his teammate C-Clay off his perch? Is this Django's true pace? As Man Ray mentioned in the comment section, Man Ray suspected that Django was sandbagging. Could this be a debut P1 for the debutante? It's Django giving it all. It's a 140.540 for the Mercedes driver, and he lights up the timesheets with the quickest time that we have seen in Q3. It is absolutely sensational from the Mercedes driver. Smirch Django, take a bow. My goodness, that is absolutely sensational. A jaw-dropping first Q3 lap for the driver who absolutely has set this racing league alight. He came into Tier 3 and he showed his quality from the beginning. He breezed through Tier 2 with his sheer pace and quality, and right now, on his debut lap, he tops the timesheets, taking provisional pole. It must be said, it's not over. C-Clay is still here. Mex is still here. Malusi the Malusi is still here, and as I say that, the latter driver, that being Malusi, is out on track once again, giving it another go. That was absolutely sensational from Smirch Django. Man Ray says, what did I say? I told you that Django's true pace would be seen in due time. And in the first race ever in this brand new breakaway season, Django is here to let it be known that perhaps, there's a new sheriff in town.
No, Django, hey, la konto bayaloya man, uyithatha aphi iphase engaka? Uyithatha aphi iphase engaka? Man, maybe usihla angabuyi.
Perhaps C-Clay can booyah. But before we get to that, it's Malusi the Malusi giving it another go. But no, he's coming back into the pits, is Malusi the Malusi. Not quite happy, perhaps, with how things went there. Meanwhile, Josh, aka Damnesia, not happy, of course, with that P5 spot. He's giving it another go. Here he is. No, he's coming back into the pit. Thanks, everyone that we catch up with is coming back. What about Zotal? He's going on his initial push here. Let's hop on board with him. Flash by Satellite, that being Satellite, aka Selby Songo, says, watch C-Clay flex. Watch C-Clay and watch what C-Clay will do as things go on here. Meanwhile, Man Ray says, for the first time, C-Clay is going to be sweating during qualification. Well, we will see. We're on board now with Zotal, who has yet to set his quickest lap. What can he do here in the castle section? Ooh, carries so much speed there. He's really on the limit, is Zotal. Gear 4 for him to the castle section. Not lower than that. Looking to carry as much minimum speed as possible through those slower corners. And he's really on the limit. It feels as if he's going to hit the wall, but no. He has got absolutely inch-perfect control, has Zotal through the slow left-hander. He comes now, and his Sector 2 split in his attempt to challenge the top runners for Zotal will be a 117.058. So we could be set for a time in the low 1 minute 41s, or perhaps in the high 1 minute 40s, considering his Sector 2 split. Unless, of course, Zotal lights it up and sets an absolute scorcher on the final section of this track here. He opens up that rear wing, and Tabang predicts a 139. Zotal won't get that. He will instead get a 141.2. It's P5, knocking Josh, aka Damnesia, down a peg or two. Both Mercedes are out on this track. One of them is given it perhaps what could be his final go with 2.5 minutes of this session to go. Romeo, aka Mandla, had yet to set a time. Oh, C-Clay goes even quicker there. It's a He's gone a couple of tenths quicker than his previous best time. So if he can keep it together, we're definitely looking at a lap which will dislodge Smirch Jangle, the pretender to the throne, the newcomer, might just be knocked off his P1 perch here. 2 minutes of his qualifying session to go. We're on board with the champion, El Capitan, perhaps, of Team Mercedes. He has asked for a pacey teammate. He's got exactly that as he comes through. Ooh, this slow left-hander, he's on the limit. His seat lane feels like he might just hit the wall, but he is absolutely inch perfect with his steering inputs, and he carries so much speed. Here he is now through the absolutely treacherous wall section, which has already claimed a driver in an earlier qualifying session, but not the champion, not Seaclay, not on the final section of this track, as he sends it absolutely screaming down towards the line. Will he knock his teammate off his perch? The answer is a resounding yes. It's a 140.210. He knocks Django off the perch, and it's still a Mercedes 1-2 with a minute of his qualifying session to go. Seaclay lights it up once again. Absolutely sensational drive and a stunning effort. And of course, we will watch to see what the likes of Mex can do. Mex is definitely running ahead of Django. So let's hop on board and see whether or not the McLaren driver can better his time. As it stands, he's got about a tenth quicker than his previous best time through Sector 1. He's looking good so far, but he's going to need a lot more than that tenth. His Sectors 2 and 3 will need to be absolutely sensational. Through the castle section, oh, so much minimum speed. Almost has a moment there with the walls, which could have compromised his race, but Mex somehow manages to keep it together. What will his split be by the end of Sector 2? He is absolutely sending it. He's on the limit, is Mex, as is the likes of the top two running drivers. Carries so much speed. It's third gear there through that left-hander, as Mandray rightly knows we're in for a humdinger of the season. His Sector 2 split is in the 116.0. He's gained about 5/10 of his previous best time, so Mex is definitely lighting it up. Mex is definitely possibly on the brink of knocking the Django off his perch here. I am absolutely quivering with excitement here. This is the last chance saloon for anyone who has yet to cross the start finish line. It's Mex, the debutant. It's P2 for Mex. 140.221. He is just a couple of hundredths behind the champion, that being Seaclay. What about Django? What can he do? Fighting versus his teammate, fighting versus Mex. He wants to make it a 1-2 on the grid to start this race. It's Django on the line, and it's a 139.949. Thrush Django lights up the time sheets once again. He is the only driver in the 1:39 in Baku, and it is an absolutely sensational drive and sensational pole lap for the rookie. Oh my word, what about Jonathan Lacka? What can he do? No, he looks to be going slow. Might have lost his weight. No, he's not pushing anymore. So that is your grid. Don Rabico was absolutely correct in the comment section. He called that we will see a time in the 1:39s, and the rookie, Smirch Django, takes pole position on his debut race in the top tier of Breakaway League racing. I have a feeling we'll be seeing that photo of Django at the top of the timing sheets, possibly at the top step of the podium. Why is Django so mad? Asks Sore Thumbs Gaming. Well, Seaclay, be careful what you wish for. He asked for a top driver to join him alongside. Look at that. Josh, aka Damnesia, and Romeo, the only two drivers not using two sets of tires. Oh my word, that was absolutely exhilarating. Look at that. The margin between the top four drivers is so tight. The margin between the top three is just 2.73. Man, 0.273 tenths. The margins get tighter and tighter and tighter. And what we can hope for now is clear weather in this race, so that we get a beautiful, beautiful race from start to finish. Whew, let's get to the comments. Faka Agassi FC. Love to see it. If only they had different teams. Sanale, Selby Sango, it says if you have a girlfriend, dump her for the night. Date night and cuddles can wait. Tier 1 is not to be missed.
مرة معلش ما هو بينغان ما هو بينغان
Tabang says, did Django crack F122 or what? Django was in the area, says Tindo. Man Ray says, tier 2 in the podium. 2 drivers, the sandwich, C-Clay. That is absolutely correct. It's the rookies. It's the rookies that are hunting down the champion. What a beautiful season we have in prospect. Peace says, there was talk that last season's tier 2 is faster than tier 1. Hey, this is what we tuned in for. Sorry Thumbs Gaming says, I'm so hyped for this race. It looks like we have beautiful, clear weather here. Lung says, whew, I'm glad I'm not racing. Django, my recruits, Agent Crash, bringing in the pace, spicing things up in this top tier of the Breakaway Racing League grid. What a beautiful race we have in prospect. It's Smirts, Django from C-Clay from Mex. And look out for the race starts of Mex and Django. I so wish the King Rapture was here because he is another driver who has absolutely ridiculous race starts. Look out for Cabose's race start, for Mex, and for Django. Absolutely sensational race starts. And remember, we will get a formation lap. We have 17 drivers on this grid. And let's get a sense of what the teams are thinking as far as tire strategy. All of the top 3 have opted to go with a set of medium compound tires. And from Malusi down to Don, that being P4 to P7, hard compound tires. And then it becomes a mixed bag. Josh, a.k.a. Damnesia, medium tires for him. He's going to look to claim as many scalps and as many positions as possible at the start of this race. Tepo Temba is going to go long, hopefully, on those hard compound tires. And then Mandla. Mandla did very well to fight his way through to the third and final quality session. P10 for him, medium tires, as is the case for Tsepiso and Loveness. The Haas duo side by side at the start of this race in P11 and P12 respectively. Will we see the Haas drivers fight as fiercely as we saw the Alfa Romeos in yesterday's Tier 2 race? Spidoso versus Tindo was absolutely breathtaking to watch. So much fighting out on track last night. Will that be the case for the Haas drivers who are right next to each other? Will that be the case for the Mercedes drivers who are right next to each other at the top of the pack here? King Rapture, sadly for him, it's the ghost of King Rapture, thanks to load shedding. Ban Kobe, we seem to also have lost him in this session, sadly. And Gawako, D-Wax, is here. He could take advantage of those ghosts ahead of him. And Level is here. He couldn't make it out of the initial qualifying session. S. Buddha made it out onto the track. Let's see what he is made of. He survived a very, very, very dramatic playoff to maintain, consolidate his place in Tier 1. But he is going to need to show a lot more as he comes so close to hitting the wall there. He, of course, is under a lot of pressure, is S. Buddha, to maintain his place in the top tier of the Breakaway Racing League. But of course, the battle that we are so eagerly awaiting as this race is about to get underway is who indeed will be fighting at the front, who will secure a podium place. Give me your predictions. Who's taking it? Can Django hold on? Will it be clear cut for the rookie? Will C-Clay once again stamp his authority and just to turn around and show these rookies that no, it's not going to be that quick? There will not be a takeover of Tier 1. Will C-Clay lay down his marker, or will the rookies have the last say? Let me know in the comment section. Almost a full grid says peace. Turn 1 is going to be exciting. It always is. It's a breakaway as always. Turn 1 is always also dramatic. We've had some beautifully dramatic playoff races at this track, where of course turn 1 resulted in some carnage. Why wasn't Gawako? Oh, no, he was just getting his act together. Here we are. Welcome to the top tier Breakaway League Racing. It's 5 lights. It's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out, and they're out. in the top tier Breakaway League Racing. Let's see who gets an early march into, is that Seekley struggling with his opening there? Yes, he did. Here comes Max, fighting to hang on to his place. Django gets a clean exit through turn 1 at Seekley, as does Max. Malusi the Malusi is now into P4 from Zotal and Kaposa, who seems to be struggling. Zotal is spun around and he's gone all the way down to the back of the grid, as has Malusi the Malusi. Meanwhile, Django versus Max versus Seekley. It's a battle to be watching. Max has overtaken the champion and he's up to P2. Kaposa now up to P4, gaining 2 places. Josh, aka Damnesia, gaining 3 and 4 places. He's fighting for his life. He almost has it coming together. Look about Seppo Temba, who's fighting with Donathan Maka at that P7 spot. As things stand, it's a hugely dramatic start. Mello and Zotal having a coming together and finding themselves 12 places down in P16 and 17 respectively. Smirch Django holds on to his spot from Max from Seekley, who will now have to fight his way from P3 as things stand. But these three have managed to eke out a 2-second advantage to P4 running Kaposa, who's fighting for his life, and he's hanging on to P4 because behind him is, of course, Josh, who's gained those 3 places. Malusi and Zotal sadly have spun and find themselves in P16 and 17 respectively, and they're now going to have to claw and fight their way back into the reckoning for those points places. Meanwhile, this is on board with Josh, who is chasing Kaposa. The gap between these two is about 2 seconds, and behind Josh, chasing is Seppo Temba, who since the start of this race has gained about 3 places. So a huge battle going on this main straight. Don Lacka thought about going in on the inside of Seppo Temba, who in defense hits the wall, and I do wonder if he's taking a little bit of damage as Django crosses the line first from next from Seekley at the top of the pack as we watch this battle between Don and Seppo Temba. Let's go back to the battle for the race lead now. Seekley is not really managing to stay in touch with the top 2 drivers there. Look at that gap as we're about to get a sense of the interval as the timing sheets update there. It looks like Seekley definitely got a cleaner, much cleaner exit than Mex, and now that gap, which was hovering at about a second there, has been trimmed down. Seekley hunting down the 2 rookies. The rookies have taken charge of this tier. They've taken charge of this race. Django from Mex. That's how close Mex is to Seekley. And almost as they're coming together there with the wall. He really has to watch it there, does Mex, as he hunts down the would-be race winner. It's only race 2 of 26. It's a long way to go here, folks. We will be watching battles take place all throughout this race as things go on. Mex is hunting down Smirch Django, and he himself is looking to keep Seekley at bay. Mex is at about half of his battery power. As what about your race leader? He is playing a brilliant game as far as managing that ERS. He's got about 68% worth of battery, does your race leader. And as they come through these sessions, Seekley really struggling to stay in touch here. Look at that gap between the top 2 and Seekley. Superior straight line speed possibly between the top running rookies and Seekley, who's now 1.8 seconds behind the top 2 as the stewards finally enable DRS. Let's catch up with some of the battles in the midfield now. It's Engawako versus D-Wax. No, versus Zotal, rather, who goes on the inside and overtakes the AlphaTauri driver. Zotal could be a double overtake. Could Zotal even overtake Espuda here? He thinks about it, but he's not going to be close enough. He's not going to be close enough. Zotal is now up to P10, having had that huge incident which saw him tumbling all the way down the order. And Zotal is now fighting his way. He's in P10. Malusi the Malusi probably took too much damage. He came into the pits, did Mello, and finds himself P16. It's a huge recovery drive from him over here. And Nebo and Zotal are going to have to work very, very hard here to make sure that they give D-Wax a very hard time here. And Nebo, the other Alpine driver, looking to catch up to his teammate Zotal, who on his recovery drive is just slicing through the field bit by bit and making his way into the reckoning here. The ghosts of Rapture and Bankobi, of course, and Seppo Temba, who seem to have had a huge moment, has had to come into the pits early. Look at him. It's P15 for him. He's just come out of the pits. This is a brand new lap on a set of medium compound tires. So Teppo Temba was fighting his way in the midfield, has now had to recover, but he will thank his lucky stars that he has not lost his car altogether. Look at that. Sikle, your champion, is still trying to stay in touch with the top two runners. The top important now with the McLaren of Mex, who's been sensational qualifying. He thought about going on the inside, but he was not close enough to make that dive, and he's just going to bide his time, did Mex. And Ludi says, when did Mex get this rapid? Mex has been putting in the hours in the simulator, and he has been looked absolutely sensational. Craig says, I can't get over that lap that Django put on.
Khasla abantu laba ngazi ukuthi basataphi lesipithe singaka. Cabanga enosihle ingathi uzosogola bisizini. Usihle upithe yagijima uyakhefuzela lapho ku P3. Eish, ekunzima uyakhefuzela 1.3 seconds. Amarusihle ingamnyathi usihle ningamnyathi.
Nintendo Wii says Mex is absolutely insane, and he's showing his class as Mex as Mello the Mellow on his brand new medium tires sets the quickest time, 144.247 for Malusi the Malusi. Mex has always been rapid since Crash, something I definitely would agree with. But something perhaps that we did not know as viewers, as spectators, we did not know whether or not they would be dunking on some of the top runners in the top tier. And as things stand, Sikle has to just bide his time to recover here. Sikle has been recovering his battery. Look at that. He's got about 70% worth of battery power, whereas the likes of Mex, in his attempt to overtake Django, at last time we checked, was down to 20%. But look at that. Mex is almost going to be flashing that red light of his ERS because he's really pushing his battery power, is Mex, trying to make sure that he just overtakes Django and make sure that Django and Sikle will fight it out while he somehow takes advantage in that leading position. But he's almost run out of battery, and Sikle is now inching closer and closer. But he can't catch up. Oh, as Django has a moment with the wall, and Mex is right on his tail. Mex will smell it coming out of turn 2, and it's going to be Mex, the rookie, the other rookie, in the lead of this race. And Smirch Django will now have to try and huff and puff and catch up. Has Django lost connection here? There's a yellow flag. Sikle is still in this, says Sorry Thumbs Gaming. I think we might have lost Django to a network issue here, folks. Oh, my word. Mercedes doing tests on Sikle. I think we might just have lost Django. Yes, he has, he's ghosted. It's a network issue. That is heartbreaking for Django, who was looking so good, and right now it is all up to Sikle to try and catch up to the race leader, that being Mex. We have yellow flags. It looks like a virtual safety car, folks. Mex is speeding on, gets a drive-through penalty. Oh, it's a rookie error for Mex. He was looking so good, was Mex. VSC, he got a drive-through penalty. He just wasn't watching his delta. Under virtual safety car, there's no overtaking allowed, and drivers have to watch their pace according to a delta, which is on their MFDs and informed by them. But this is absolutely tragic by Mex, the race leader who was in firm command of this race. He was going too fast under virtual safety car, and now is going to have to serve a drive-through penalty. Will it be now? The answer is yes, and that will mean that the Sikle will take firm control of the race lead, while Django, who ghosted out of this race, is back in the lobby. I wonder how far down the pecking order Mex will fall. Oh man, we're really looking forward to a classic race by the rookies, both rookies, and now both of them have lost all of that advantage. And that gap between the top two is now 5 seconds. And Sikle being Sikle, we know once he fights his way into the lead, oh, it really takes a miracle just to bring yourself into the reckoning, number one, and number two, to overtake. But Mex's error under VSC has given the other rookie, Donathan Lacka, for Ferrari. What a day possibly for him to find his way back into the reckoning. Well, he's 6.3 seconds behind the top two was Don, and right now he's being hunted by Mex. Well, we're going to catch up with these two as they go towards the main straight. get a sense of your top 5. What a day for Mandla, Alfa Romeo driver, currently running P5, 3.1 seconds behind the top drivers. Cepiso is currently chasing down Mandla. Zotal on his fight back is up to P7. Beautiful recovery drive from the Alpine driver who had a nightmare start in lap 1. Esbuda is in the points as things stand, P8. Well. D-Wax and Gawako is trying to keep Josh, aka Damnesia, off his tail. Josh pitted and is on a brand new set of hard compound tires. Kaboza currently in P11, also in a fresh set of tires. He pitted under that VSC, so he's going to take these medium compound tires for 20 laps. He's got his work cut out, this Kaboza. Seppo Temba is fighting his way back from outside the points, hopefully into the reckoning, and he's going to look to keep his nose clean with the Aston Martin driver. Malusi the Malusi is the person that Seppo Temba has to worry about as we hop on board with the Williams driver. 17 seconds behind these guys is Neville, currently running P14, and the Ghost of Van Kobe and King Raptor, P15 and 16 respectively. And here comes Loveness overtaking Van Kobe, the Ghost of Van Kobe. Here comes Lucy onto the main straight. He's got about 30% with his battery power to the Williams driver. Does he have that straight line speed to go along? He will tuck on the outside of the Aston Martin driver. They're side by side, hurling down towards turn 1. And Seppo Temba comes into the pit. So it's just going to be an uneventful turn into turn 1 for Malusi the Malusi. He's now up to P12, courtesy of that Seppo Temba coming into the pit. Remember, folks, Smirch Jango was almost 6 seconds behind Seaclay by the time he rejoined this lobby after that disconnect. He now is 4.2 seconds behind his teammates. Can he catch up? Can Jango catch up to Seaclay? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, Donovan Laka versus Mex. These guys are still within DRS of each other, that being Mex hunting down Don. Let's see what Mex can do. Rookie versus Rookie. McLaren versus Ferrari. Mex versus Don Laka through towards the end of Sector 2 to begin the third and final sector. Let's see now who gets a cleaner exit. Don has a huge spin! Oh, Don, unforced error, faces the wrong way and now has to reset that car. And Mex, without a fight, is now into P3, and now Don has to contend with Mandla. It's going to be Don versus Mandla. Don with an unforced error. Mandla has run out of battery. Mandla and Cepiso will hunt down the Ricky. Django is closing that gap fast, absolutely, as we watch this battle. It's Mandla going on the inside of Ferrari. It's Mandla into turn 1. Mandla into P4, a beautiful clean overtake. But Mandla is going to have to watch his back because he is absolutely drained that battery. And Don is going to fight on the inside, but he's going to think about it. Yes, he will. He dives on the inside, forcing Mandla towards the wall there. But thankfully, not too much contact. And here comes Cepiso. Oh my gosh, it's a huge fight for that P4 spot. Don huffing and puffing. Cepiso overtakes Mandla, who's on the battery. They make contact, and Mandla has to take the slip road out, and he has to reset that car, and Mandla's out, and Cepiso and Don have crashed. Cepiso and Don have crashed out of this race. Oh, Cepiso and the rookie Don crashing out, bringing out a VSC as things stand. No, it's a full safety car as we lose 2 drivers, Cepiso and Donovan Laka crashing out. As we were watching Mandla try to recover his way, Cepiso and Don were fighting, not giving each other an inch, and they become the first DNF casualties, bringing out the safety car for the first time in lap 8 of 26. And that gap between the top 2 will be shrinking and shrinking. And Mex, who has served his drive-through penalty, potentially has redemption here, because now the pack will be bunched up. Advantage medium runners, says Lydia in the comment section. It's a nightmare scenario for Cepiso and Donovan Laka, who's looking to have his say on this race as a rookie driver. Oh my word. They came together with that Cepiso. It happened off camera, but the top 2 drivers, that being Seaclay and Django, will come into the pits to fit a brand new set of tires. And will Mex do the same? It's a double stack for the Mercedes with Seaclay's W13 just making its way out onto those hard tires. Django does exactly that. What about Mex fitting on those hard compound tires? And here comes Mandla, who's having a beautiful day so far. And interestingly, looks like Zotal has opted to stay out. Zotal, on his fight back lap, has opted to stay out. Now remember, Zotal started this race on this set of hard compound tire. So he's going to roll the dice here, Zotal. He still needs to pit. Perhaps he's hoping and praying for another safety car. But as things stand, he will come into the top three. But on those old hards, he will be hunted down by the likes of Mex and Caboza, who has a 3-lap old set of medium compound tires. Mandla, brand new set of hards. Mello the Mello is now into the top 10, courtesy of all that drama. He's in the pits. I do wonder if he can make it out into, while keeping his top 10 spot. The answer is yes. Seppo Tamba back into the top 10. Espuda also still hanging on to that top 10 spot. Josh, aka Damnesia, just coming out of the pits. Brand new mediums for him. And Gawako, D-Wax, also coming out. He will be chasing Josh. And will he be overtaken by Enlebo? No, he will come out just ahead of the Alpine driver. And behind them, of course, are the ghosts of King Rapture and Ban Kobe. Meanwhile, Loveness has to stay behind those ghosts. And as soon as we go racing once again, Loveness will just hurtle past those ghosts and will look to give Enlebo a lot to think about. Safety car, if you've just joined us, it's been a beautiful, beautiful day out here in Azerbaijan. It's been a sunny day since the qualifying. We had an absolutely brilliantly, tantalizingly thrilling qualifying session with Django topping the timesheets by being the only driver in the 1 minute 39s. C-Clay was there and thereabouts, as was Mex. They took advantage of Django and Mex, and they overtook the champion. But courtesy of Django's disconnect and Mex's drive-through penalty, C-Clay found himself in the race lead. And he's still there as these cars follow the safety car in lap 9 of 26 here. Well, have your expectations changed? What do you make of Zotal's strategy to pretty much not come into the pits alongside everyone? Zotal perhaps feeling he has no choice but to take a risky strategy as this race continues on along. A man who has yet to pit. He now finds himself in P3. Man, oh man, oh man. What a sensationally dramatic day for Zotal. Liddy says, I still have Mello on the podium. Sanlite Selbisango says, one more safety car. He's hoping for that. Selbisango loves sprinkling some drama into this. He quite enjoys seeing people have to work and struggle for their race wins.
Yeah, Selbisango thanda kuyisala ama-safety car, man. Selbisango bayeke ba-race lapha.
Yes, perhaps the Selbisango could do that. Justice, aka Contact, says to Liddy, the top three are clear of everyone. Justice says there's a gulf in class between the top three drivers, perhaps also including Mex in that. Sanley says, responding to Tindo, says, yeah, well, that goes without saying. Lung says, yeah, you must watch pro and pick your driver. Responding to Tulo, who had made a comment earlier on. The grid now making its way through the third and final sector as we hope to get the thumbs up, the go-ahead, the confirmation from race control that the safety car will be coming in. But it must be noted, the likes of, is it Enlebo? Yeah, are still, no, Enlebo's at the back of this main pack. It doesn't look like, I think we'll probably have one more lap under the safety car as we wait for the ghost of Raptor and Ban Kobe and the trailing Loveness to catch up to the back of the pack. Oh, I absolutely cannot wait. Mex's drive-through penalty has been rescinded, of course. He served it, rather. He served his drive-through penalty, so it's back to level pegging. Zotao being the anomaly among the top runners with the... Well, of course, they're still needing to pit Mandla. Pits again. So Mandla, interestingly, is probably going to go for a set of fresh set of medium compound tires. But that'll send him all the way to the back of the pack. Well, that's interesting. He was on a fresh set of hards, but perhaps... he took damage. Oh, man, Mandla. It'll send him all the way back to the back of the pack here. He gets that wing change. That's a wasted opportunity for Mandla, who was looking very, very comfortable as far as a points finish is concerned here today. And now he's going to have to fight the likes of Loveness and Inevo and D-Wax, possibly Josh, aka Damnesia, just to get into the points. He worked so hard, did Mandla. He vowed last year never to take part in the playoffs. He fulfilled his promise to himself, did Mandla. But having seen the rookies, the pace, the class of the rookies, Mandla knows he cannot afford to find himself out of the points too many times. And that mistake, which saw him having to change his wing under safety car, will now add on another element of pressure for him just to find himself back in the points. Mandla, aka Romeo, has got his work cut out. Now, the pack is all bunched up. It's lap 11, soon to be 12. Sadly for Tepiso, Tepiso had, of course, been involved in that huge incident in that DNF, which brought out this safety car. So he's just left the lobby there. So I think it's reasonable to expect that we could have the safety car coming back in. And let's see how these drivers will fare. Zotao really going out on a limb here on his alternate strategy. Currently P3, those aging hard compound tires. Mex behind him will hope to make light work of Zotao on those older tires. And something to watch as race control, the stewards, give the word that the safety car is coming up. I do wonder if Zotao will somehow end up forming some sort of a DRS train that backs up everybody from Mex onwards. That is something to watch as this race is about to get started up once again. Django is hunting down his teammate. Here is the fight indeed, and CK, your champion, has sent it down towards turn 1. Has he sent it? Has he sent it? We're on board with Django. Yes, he has. He has crossed that start-finish line, and here they come into turn 1. Clean goes Django and Cycle. Oh, there's a huge moment in Zotao! Zotao through turn 1 has had another spin on those old tires. He might have hit the wall, and now Kaposa and Mex are up to P3 and 4 respectively. Kaposa overtaking... now ahead of his teammate is Kaposa on those slightly older medium compound tires, and Zotao will be kicking himself. He might have even taken damage to Zotao on his alternate strategy, and now is going to have to huff and puff and fight his way back to the reckoning once again. Mellow to Mellow, what a day it's been for him. He had that huge incident in lap 1. He finds himself fighting for a possible podium place. He's about half a second behind Mex right now, so it's the rookie Mex, the rookie Smirch Django, sandwiched between the seasoned Tier 1 drivers. What can they do here on behalf of the rookies? What did I say about turn 1, says Selby Sanko. Well, absolutely dramatic start as we get another yellow flag through Sector 2. There might have been a driver who has taken damage through the castle section. We're going to get a hint of that as Sector 2 becomes Sector 3. There's another safety car? Yellow flags all over the place. I do wonder if cars have to slow down again. It's another safety car. At the restart, Cicle has got damage. He damaged his wing, did Cicle, under pressure from his teammates. Cicle with a damaged front right wing end plate. Smirch Django, what about him? His wing looks like it's still intact. Cicle, will he come in and replace that wing? Or will Cicle just take his chances, I wonder? The answer is Cicle will carry on. Damaged wing or no damaged wing, he will carry on. A second safety car coming out in lap 13 of 26. So it's been a dramatic restart of this race. It's Cicle from Django, from Kaposa, and Mex. Mercedes, and the McLarens running in P3 and 4 in formation. Would you look at that? We're going to have a couple more revolutions around this track as we watch Zotile come into the pits. No wing damage. It's just a fresh set of mediums for him. Brand new tires for Mandla as well. Mandla might have taken further damage. Loveness. It looks like might have been a wing change there and a tire change. Fresh mediums for him as well. And what about Esbuda? It's a fresh set of medium compound tires for him as well. None of the drivers in the top 5, in fact, in the top... none of the drivers in the top 9 had come into the pits. So it's redemption and possible points finishes for Enabo, D-Wax, and Damnesia here. Justice says, Mandla will finish the tires, says Man Ray. Lap 13 of 26, cancel section, Seaclay, damaged front wing. Still there and thereabouts. It's going to be Seaclay. Once again, leading the pack. And hopefully we can have the chasing pack really catch up as soon as possible. That being everybody from Zotal onwards. If I can catch up here, and then we could get back to racing once again. A dramatic race restart. Seaclay, damaged wing. Seaclay under pressure. The 3-time champion is human after all. We've seen Seaclay time and again have perfect races from start to finish. We've seen him sometimes suffer damage, come into the pits, and somehow fight his way back to a race win. But one thing that is definitely clear this season, judging from this race alone, is it will not be straightforward for Seaclay at all. Is this the year? Is this the year that Seaclay is dethroned? Well, time will tell. But of course, it's early days. I mean, we haven't even finished the first race, but I tell you what, the kind of driving and the kind of fierce competitive spirit that we've seen from all these guys here, it's definitely a lot that we're going to be paying very, very close attention to. If you've just joined us, you've missed out on an absolutely beautifully deliciously dramatic qualifying and dramatic race thus far. This is our second safety car, your champion Seaclay, and his brand new sensational teammates, Smirch Jangle, currently leading the pack, Kaboza and Mex in P3 and 4, Mellow the Mellow, currently P5, Sepul Temba, P6. What can he do towards the end of this race? Josh, aka Damnesia, P7. He's another one to watch at the race restart. He's uncompromising, is Josh. Takes no prisoners, dives into corners when he smells this slither of opportunity. And Gowacko, D-Wax, P8, and Nebel, P9, just ahead of his teammate, Zota. Mandla is now on the brink of the points place finishes again. Loveness makes a P12 ahead of the ghosts of Raptor and Bankobi, and Esbuda is currently at the back of the pack. Bankobi's hoping for his power to be restored early so that he can finish this race. Oh, there's a McLaren which has lost its wing. It's Max. Max has lost a wing. Oh my word, Max has been having a sensational race. He's had so many opportunities, and now his front wing is completely gone. He was running P4 was Max, and possible mistake. It could have been a mistake. He could have been hit, and now he's going to have to come in and replace that wing. Max squandering golden opportunity. The safety car was his saving grace because he found himself up there among the front runners, and he's been replaced there by Mellow the Mellow. Oh, Max. Lap 14 of 26. The safety car is in. The Max would have been hoping for at least one more evolution of the safety car. But, oh man, that's pretty much possibly his points finish done for. Because all these drivers are just going to race and leave him in the dust. So what could have been a dream debut in the top tier Breakaway League racing is pretty much a harsh reality check that mistakes are punished very, very harshly here. And of course, we'll get a sense as this race goes on and the drivers come into the press box, whether or not it was a genuine mistake or whether or not he was hit. Look at Malusi the Malusi. He's just lining it up. Malusi the Malusi on the inside of the McLaren, but he's nowhere near close enough. Look at that race start that Sikle gets. It's a beautiful one. Django is not close enough to get that move done. Malusi the Malusi versus Kapoza. Oh, Kapoza is so close to the back of Django. Going into turn 2. Will Kapoza be close enough? No! Malusi and Tempo Temba come together. They crash out of this race. Tempo Temba, Malusi the Malusi become the third and fourth drivers to crash out in Baku, bringing out a yellow flag. We've just had a safety car. The stewards possibly deciding, no, we won't bring out another safety car. And Malusi and Malusi, Tempo Temba having a huge coming together, and they are out of this race in that 15 of 26. And look at that. Joshua Damnesia now has a shot at a possible podium place. What an absolutely crazy end to this race. The first part was absolutely sensational. Not much incident, but as we got to the halfway point and more, it's gotten increasingly dramatic. And sadly for Melo and Seppo Temba, that collision, that pretty much ends their prospects of course, finishing in the points. They were possibly fighting for a race win, and now that's brought Damnesia and Ngawako D-Rex and Melo into the reckoning. Look at Zotal. He's not even that far behind, but Sikle at the race restart has managed to eke out a significant advantage over his teammate. That gap now 1.3 seconds. As Manray notes that Tier 2 definitely had a cleaner, incident-free race as far as race incidents and clashes are concerned, but perhaps the added tension of the new dynamic of Tier 1 is too much to bear for some of our drivers here. And Lebo crashing out! And Lebo loses his car in the walled section just before the main straight. And it's a virtual safety car. No, it's a full safety car again. Josh aka Damnesia opts to come into the pits for a fresh set of tires, but he speeds into the pit lane. It's a 5-second time penalty. Zotal also coming into the pits. He doesn't get that time penalty, does Zotal. So Josh aka Damnesia will now have 5 seconds worth of a time penalty. It's drama, it's pandemonium. We're not even getting to see these drivers fight it out properly towards the end of this race here. It's just safety car after safety car. Oh my word, lap 16, we're under another safety car. One of these guys is going super, ultra aggressive in terms of tire strategy. He's going to have to nurse these possibly for 8 laps, considering if this safety car goes around for just 2 laps. Loveness going bold, slapping on a set of soft compound tires. He's going to be at the back of the pack. And it's another bit of saving grace possibly for Mex to climb his way up the grid here before this race is over. Lingelo says Tier 2 over Tier 1 as far as the races are concerned. Justice says, well, that's great to go for that sort of tire strategy. If I join, says Bankobi, I will get points. He's hoping. He's praying as Bankobi. There's a vigil at Bankobi's house. They're praying for the power to come back.
If maybe because of like I'm mistaken God. Mara why Max? Why and someone mistaken God? The show we Max. Mara Max.
Yes, Max had a golden opportunity to be among the front runners, and it was saved by a couple of safety cars, but those mistakes and losing wings cost him dearly. As we now count down the laps. It looks like Django is coming in, and Sikle opted to stay out. So Django, Kapoza, and everybody in those top places is boxing opposite. Django had a damaged wing, so Django forced into coming into the pit, and will take longer perhaps than the likes of Kapoza. Yes, Kapoza will come out of the pits ahead of Smirch Django, who has a fresh set of medium compound tires and a brand new wing to go with it. Remember, Sikle is still operating on a damaged front right wing end plate. Sikle is still running on a damaged wing, and everybody behind him has a fresh set of tires. Esbuda by a factor of about 4 laps, and Romeo by just a couple of laps. And Kapoza will be definitely one to watch as this race ticks on towards its conclusion. Sikle, damaged wing, leads the pack in lap 17 of 26. Those pit stops mean the S. Buddha, who was languishing at the back of the pack earlier on, finds himself in a podium place in lap 17 of 26. Mandla is in the podium places as well. With those 6-lap old hard compound tires, he's going to be fighting his way to hang on to that P3 spot. Beautiful day for him as far as this race is concerned. Kaboza, fresh tires, P4. Ingawako, D-Wax, fresh set of hard tires, P5 for him. Smirch Django replaced his front wing. It's going to be P6 as things stand. Then we have the ghost of... No, it's not the ghost of King Raptor. He is back. Well. That will definitely throw the cat among the pigeons. Crash, if you were asking about Sikle, we did see his front left wing end plate that was damaged there. King Rapture restored his presence in this lobby. Perhaps he restored power, and he will have a say towards the end of this race. Watch out for King Rapture versus Smirch Django as this race turns on towards a conclusion. King Rapture's presence definitely throw the cat among the pigeons. As we go back to check on your race leader there, as you can see that front right wing end plate is gone for Sikle. Rapture is back. Can Rapture somehow fight his way to the podium? He'll have to overcome Django and D-Wex and Kaboza and Mandla and Espuda. So yeah, a lot for him to do as Loveness on those 3-lap old medium compound tires is now making his way to the back of this pack. Hopefully this is the last lap under the safety car that we're getting. And then we're going to see how it's going to go towards the end here.
Mara urapcha na angabathatha bo abothengo nabo D-Wax. Eningabyazo urapcha. Iyavayele out.
Yes, Iyavayele out. Does King Rapture. He's definitely one to watch as we hurtle on towards the end of this race here. Next! Kaboza in a very good position, says Lungs. Absolutely. Currently P4, fresh mediums. Looking very, very tasty for Kaboza, whose teammate is currently in P11, as we see. It's going to be a beautiful race restart to watch from the perspective of Kaboza. P4 for the McLaren driver. We have lost 4 drivers to DNFs. That being Seps and Donathan Laka, who had that early coming together. And then we had Anebo, who crashed in that walled section towards the main straight. And then, of course, we had that huge coming together, bringing out this safety car, that being between Malusi the Malusi and Seppo Temba. We will have 8 or so laps of racing to go. If you've just joined us, you're just in time for a deliciously dramatic end to this race. Hopefully we do not get any more crashes, bringing out the safety car once again. It's been a beautiful race, a nice full grid, and Letty is praying that nobody spins going into turn 1 so that we can get a clean restart of this race. Must say it's been a beautiful drive from Sikle under immense pressure as race control and the stewards give the word that the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. Mandla taking a look on the inside of the today's Red Bull, that being S Buddha today. He was thinking about it as Sikle weaves to the left and to the right. And similar to the previous race restart, I do wonder whether or not Sikle can get a clean restart and how much some of these drivers following will back the pack up. Sikle weaving left and right, trying to get some temperature into those hard compound tires. 9-lap old hard compound tires. Sikle is sending it. Sikle speeds down towards turn 1, and he looks absolutely good. That's Sikle. Romeo is not far behind Espuda. They're clean through turn 1. They're clean. Kaboza is under pressure. Kaboza, it's Engawako and Raptor fighting, and Smirch Jangle overtakes D-Wax. It's a clean overtake by Smirch Jangle. He's already up to P5, and King Raptor is also going to look to overtake and Baku, aka D-Wax. King Raptor will have the inside line, as you can see. King Raptor out to stay out of it. Yes, he overtakes Baku, aka D-Wax. He's now behind Smirch Jangle. Let's go back to the battle for the race lead. Seekley has not managed to build too much of a gap as far as the gap between P1 and P2 is concerned. Kaposa is fighting thereabouts. Kaposa overtook Mandla. Kaposa is now up into the podium places. Mandla is fighting to keep Jango at bay. Can Jango get this overtake done towards that main straight? As Buddha struggled throughout the castle section, he was within DRS of Seekley, but coming out of the castle section, as Buddha is almost 2 seconds behind the race leader, and he is 2 seconds behind. Kaposa, will he wait, or will he go for it before they hit the heavy braking zone into the left-hander? Kaposa bides his time, and he will look to perhaps get the overtake done on the main straight. Seekley praying that as Buddha backs the pack up even more. Meanwhile, look at Jango. He's up to P4. He's overtaking with absolute ease. He's slicing through the pack. And look at King Raptor versus Mandla. They were almost side by side coming through that section of track, but King Raptor was not close enough to get that move done. He's so close. King Raptor and Jango slicing through the pack. Meanwhile, Kaposa is getting that overtake done on Esbuda. Will they side by side going into turn 1, but Esbuda will have the inside line. Who will be late and braver on the brakes? The answer is Kaposa. And he gets that move cleanly, and he's now up to P2. McLaren versus Mercedes in P1 and P2, respectively. It's a beautiful drive by the McLaren driver. In lap 20 of 26, it's Kaposa versus Seekley towards the end of this race. But don't think too far ahead, because Jango is fighting as Buddha now, and Jango, who was now languishing in P6, is now up to the podium places within a matter of a couple of laps. And look out for King Raptor, and Mandla, aka Romeo, was in the podium place, but he's now going to have to fight his way back. Look at Jango. He's managed to catch up to Kaposa, who made a couple of mistakes and now finds himself 3.8 seconds behind the race leader. And it's going to be a beautifully dramatic end towards this race. It might just be Jango versus Seekley, but will he have enough time, because Kaposa is holding Jango back. He's backing the pack up here, and it's Jango versus Espuda. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I do wonder where that might have come from. Some of the drivers running further behind in the castle section brought out that yellow flag. King Raptor is struggling to overtake Esbuda, and Jango is struggling to overtake Kaposa, but he might just get this move done on this main straight. Meanwhile, Seekley is hoping that his teammate does not catch up to him before the end of this race. Jango thought about it before that left-hander, but he did not get that move done. King Raptor struggling. He might have had some issues, did King Raptor. We're going to catch up with him a little bit later. Let's go Jango, says Crash in the comment section. On board now with the Mercedes driver. He's hunting down the McLaren as King Raptor crashes out in Sector 3, bringing out a safety car again. It's another safety car. Will they die for it? Kaposa says yes. Seekley says yes. Jango stays out, and you could bet your top dollar they'll go for mediums. That's interesting. I would have expected them to go for softs at this time. Kaposa does go for softs. Seekley goes for a brand new set of medium compound tires. And remember, Seekley also had to change his front wing. It's a brand new front wing for Seekley. He now has at least full downforce, much better traction and control of his car towards the end of this race, and he will have to contend with the soft tire running Kaposa behind him. They're now P7 and P8 respectively. Mandla at the back of his pack is a brand new set of medium compound tires, and Loveness has come into the pits for a brand new set of soft compound tires. Just 11 drivers running as King Raptor became the latest casualty to DNF to crash out of this race. We will have a couple of revolutions under the safety car, and hopefully a clean sprint towards the end of this race. Jango did not pit, neither did Esbuda nor Josh, aka Damnasia. Loveness is at the back of the pack. It's Jango versus Esbuda versus Josh, aka Damnasia. Remember, Josh has that time penalty of 5 seconds that will definitely see him tumbling down the pecking order. So this safety car is bad news for Josh, because the pack will be back upright again, giving him very limited opportunity to eke out some sort of an advantage. Raptor in for the cameo, and then he dipped. says Justice. Tindo says Rapture came back only to crash. Josh is a sitting duck, says Crash in the comment section. Well, he definitely is a sitting duck with that 5-second time penalty. Mex. Again. I say again, Mex is probably the luckiest driver on this grid. It's been saving grace after saving grace. Opportunity after opportunity. He had a drive-through penalty, did Mex. It was negated by the safety car which came out earlier. He then made a mistake, and now those mistakes are being somehow negated by the fact that this late safety car means he finds himself in the reckoning for potentially challenging the race leader here. But it must be said, 6-lap old medium compound tires. We might just have 4 laps of proper hard racing here before the end of this race, or perhaps 5 laps. So Mex here might just have enough in the bag and enough pace and enough performance to be able to dispatch the Josh aka Damnesia and perhaps make life difficult for Esbuda. And all he needs to do is keep the likes of Ingawako, D-Wax, and Zota, and Seakley, and even his teammates out of the reckoning here as this race goes on towards the end. Sanale Mazansi says, you're right, Django has an advantage here. Max is going to finish on the podium, says Nintendo Wii. Liddy says, the softs are not a bad idea right now. Kaboza and Loveness, of course, on that. Seakley will get it, says Tindo, perhaps speaking about podium prospects there. Well, we've got about 4 laps to go after this. Give me your predictions for P1, P2, P3. And, of course, towards the end of this race, I would love to hear who your driver of the day has been. Seakley should have taken the soft tire, says Justice, a.k.a. Context. Yeah, perhaps it was an oversight on his part. I know Seakley would have been focused on making sure that his pit crew were going to replace that front wing, and they did so, of course, nudging him down to P7. Seakley versus Zotal. That's another battle to be watching in this race here. Django, Max, and Zotal, that's Tindo's prediction for the podium places. Well. Django winning this, he's going to catch Esbuda sleeping, says Story Thumbs Gaming. This is quali now, says Crash. They're going to have to put in those sorts of laps. Red Bull's running in formation, that being Esbuda and Josh, aka Damnesia. Carnage awaiting. Debo Crop, Bangani expects more carnage before this race is over. I'll tell you what, Bangani, I definitely hope that it's a clean finish to this race. We're quite likely going to get the word from race control that the safety car is coming in, and that will definitely be music to my ears. Yes, Zotal, please do not spin.
Esacela, Zotile, esacela. And who has speed? Esacela, you've got one chance. You've only got one shot. Who has speed, Zotile, esacela. Yaza matrava mina ngathana ama kusheshe kule day. Abanglobi bangahambuya ele kusheshe yakhe. Also, Speedy is heading lap 22 of 26, soon to be lap 23 of 26. Smirked, Django leads the pack. He opted not to come in. What can he do towards the end of proceedings? It's possible redemption for Mex, who's no longer weaving, nor is Esbuda and Damnesia. They're just lining it up, waiting for that golden opportunity to overtake and claim the race win. We will watch very closely here to see how they get along. Django is sending it. Esbuda was not caught napping. He's about half a second behind. Josh against Damnesia is there and thereabouts, as is Mex. Into turn 1 they come. Django is clean into the lead. P2, 3, and 4 pretty much remain unchanged. Oh, it looks like Esbuda might have hit the wall. He did hit the wall. Zotal spins coming out of turn 2. He spins. Then Zotal actually coming out of turn 1. So some of you predicted it, some of you cursed him perhaps. Look at Seakley. He's overtaking. He's already gained 2 places since the race restart. Kabosa not quite managing to take advantage of it, but it's up to P6 thus far from him. So he's going to need to stay in touch. Oh no, he is overtaking his Kabosa. Look at that. Josh aka Damnesia also had a huge moment. Goes down to P6. It's Mex versus Django. It's the rookies leading the race in the top tier Breakaway League racing.
In lap 23 of 26, the two rookies are the protagonists in the top tier of Breakaway League racing. And look at Seekle. He has managed to overtake Espuda and now finds himself back in the possible running for what would be an absolutely sensational race win. Caboza, can he keep up? Can Caboza overtake Espuda and find his way to the coattails of Seekle, who is now chasing down Mex? Seekle, remember, has the fresh set of the medium compound tires, whereas Mex's tires are about 6 laps older. Oh my word, it's gonna be an absolutely breathtaking end to this race. It's gonna be the Mercedes drivers fighting it out against each other. Django has a 3.8 second advantage already before the end of lap 23. Seekle might just dispatch of the McLaren driver here. He can smell the fumes coming out of the back of that McLaren. He's gonna weave to the left, to the right, possibly make Max panic. And right now, it's gonna be a battle of straight line speed as both these drivers are absolutely draining that battery. But it looks like Max has superior straight line speed, and Seekle might just save and charge his battery going into turn 1 here. And he's gonna hope, will Seekle, that Max will drain his battery as much as possible. But Seekle will have DRS onto after turn 2 here. He goes on the inside to Seekle and he gets that overtake done almost cleanly there, side by side. Seekle versus Max. Look at that. Max is absolutely sending it, using as much of his battery as possible. Who will have the inside line? Of course, it's going to be Seekle, who has a clean entry and exit through turn 3, and he's unscathed, and right now he's going to hunt down his teammates. It's going to be a Mercedes 1-2 if they keep it clean for laps 25 and 26. But does Seekle have enough in the bag to claim his race win from his teammate? Be careful what you ask for, Seekle. You ask for a fast teammate. You begged for Django to come on to your team. Here he is. And right now he is 4.6 seconds to the good. Meanwhile, Mex has huffed and puffed and fought his way up to a debut potential podium place if he can somehow hang on to the coattails here of Seekle. But look at that gap already, 1.2 seconds, the gap between Mex and Seekle. Meanwhile, Caboza is about 4 seconds behind his teammate, running those brand new soft tires. Look at this. Also went on those softs, finds himself P5. It's a beautiful race, a beautiful day for Tato, aka Loveness. The Haas driver, Espuda, finds himself in the points, but it's P6 on those aging medium compound tires. Josh, aka Damnesia, remember, has that time penalty to contend with, but it's only P7 for him. And Mantla will be finishing in the points at the very least, if he can keep it together and keep this man Zotal at bay. Smirch Django leads the race and he leads the timing sheet. He crosses the line as the quickest man on track with that time, the 144s, as race control will enable DRS towards the end of this race. And here comes Zotal on the inside of Mantla. Yes, will they make a little bit of contact? It's Josh versus Mantla versus Espuda. Oh, wow. Zotal managed to keep his nose out of trouble there, but this is going to be a big DRS train to watch very, very closely. And Gawako T-Wax is going to look to somehow catch up, but Mantla seemed to have a moment with the wall. He's crashed and it's P10 for him. He's all the way to the back of the pack. I do wonder if Mantla has lost his wing there in that little bit of a scuffle. Zotal is now up to P8. And he's going to hunt down Josh, aka Damnesia, who himself wants to get Espuda out of the way as quickly as possible. It's going to be a dramatic ending to this race out here in Baku. And Josh, aka Damnesia, is going to make Espuda panic. He's going to look to do exactly that. He weaves to the right. This is going to be audacious if he goes for it at this corner. He does! Josh cuts the corner. He cuts that little bit of a chicane, and he drives Espuda wide, and Zotal manages to take that place as well. So Zotal is now up to P7. This is Django, says Crash in the comment section, as another battle to watch closely are the soft tire running Loveness versus Caboza. Loveness is on Caboza's tail here, and he is well within DRS. Will he be going for it on this section of track? On board now with the half driver we go. He is smelling the fumes coming out of that McLaren. I do wonder how much of his battery power Caboza has left. Will he flash going on towards this main straight? It's a battle of straight line speed as the Smirch Django has finally begun the final lap. Seekle is the quickest man on track with a 143.177. Seekle inches closer and closer. Red Bulls compromising each other. You guys are saying in the comment section, Loveness does not have enough in the pack. Caboza way too quick, way too much as far as straight line speed is concerned, and Caboza hangs on to P4. It might just be a beautiful formation of Mercedes and McLarens in P1 all the way through to P4 asking Stan. Zotal seems to have had a moment, and he's all the way now down to P9. He might just get caught by Mandla if he's not careful. I do wonder what happened to see Zotal fall down the pecking order once again. But the man who is on his debut race and is leading the pack here from his teammates is none other than Smirch Jangle, lap 26 of 26. Welcome to the top tier. Welcome to Baku. Welcome to the creme de la creme of Breakaway League Racing. All you got to do now is hold your nerve, Django, and keep it together all the way towards the end of this race. Sikle has huffed and puffed and might not have enough in the bag here. His battery is down all the way to 17% in his mission to catch up to his teammate here. Mex, meanwhile, is about 6 seconds behind these guys, and as things stand, he's just going to look to hang on to this debut podium place and make sure that he makes it a McLaren at the very least on the podium. Josh, aka Damnesia, crashes out. He was in the points, was Josh, but he crashes out in the final lap of the race. He is out to the race. It's Josh, aka Damnesia, and that means that Magla will definitely be finishing in the points. But take a bow. Hats off and let us clap for the first time in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Smirch Django will come home as a race winner, and he will be followed onto the podium by none other than the three-time champion, his teammate Sikle, and Motelo Mex Mekwa will finish in the top 3 in his debut race in the top tier Breakaway League Racing. Capoza will make it in McLaren P3 and 4. Loveness will come home in P5 for a sensational recovery race. Buddha will come home in P6. What a beautiful day for him. And Kawako D-Wax, another beautiful race for him in the points. P7 for him. Zotal has had an absolutely dramatic race. He will come home in P8. Mandla will come home in P9. And the ghost of Van Kobe will finish things off in P10. Oh my word. I need your driver of the day. Let us know in the comments section. What an absolutely dramatic, sensational, beautiful day. What a day of racing we have had. And there he is. I get the feeling we will be seeing more and more of this man on the top step of Breakaway League Racing. In the top tier of Breakaway League Racing, he has shown his class all the way throughout the tiers. Hamilton Russell, you're saying in the comments, Django definitely driver of the day. A lot of shouts coming through. Let us know in the comment section. One of the first people to join us in the commentary box is none other than your 3-time champion. He's on the podium. It's familiar territory, but he's not quite on the top step that he's used to. Sikle, congratulations. What a race. What a recovery. Take us through that drama.
Yeah, do you guys see what's happening here? Man, I love it. I've been asking for this. That was great. One thing that sucked a lot about it is I had, I think, wing damage from lap 2.
Yeah.
And these guys, I'm not sure if they were wasting their ERS within the first few opening laps, but they were quick. Yeah, and then Django disconnected. I got worried there, but he came back. He also told me he had wing damage, hence he also pitted. I just think I also chose the worst time to pit, but also the best. I mean, it worked out.
It did. It's a 1-2. Yeah. It's going to be such a beautiful fight for the Drivers' Championship, for the Constructors' Championship. Once again, Sikle proving your class. You're back on the podium. And again, that fastest lap is ridiculous, as we're seeing on our screens right now. Congratulations, sir. I will come to another debutant. One of 2 rookie drivers in the top tier in his debut race, Motelo Mekwa P3. Congratulations, sir. A lot of luck there. You had a roller coaster of a race.
Whoa, very much a roller coaster of a race. So many ups and downs. But we managed to get somehow a podium.
Man, just take us through. At one stage, I think you were in the lead. You were fighting for the lead of this race. What happened? We saw you coming into the pits for a wing change and then you had a VSC, a penalty there. So was that just mistakes, or did you get hit? What happened there?
I think a mistake I can take full accountability was the drive-through penalty. When I was first and Django disconnected, I got a drive-through, which was very dumb from me. I took the drive-through and still came out, I think, P3, 4.
Yeah.
And then there was a point where I was behind Zotile and they messed up the first corner, and I broke my wing like by hitting him in the back while he was spinning. You know, there was no ghost, and that really hindered my pace. And then during another restart, one of the Red Bulls spun, and again I broke my ring, which I was kind of excited to go side by side with Sihle, but my ring was broken literally right before he came by me.
Man, oh man. But somehow you still managed to recover a beautiful debut podium. Congratulations, sir. I can't wait to see what all three of you are going to be doing this season. But the man who is on his debut race in the top tier sets the quickest lap in qualifying. He was one of the quickest person as far as race pace is concerned and made it a Mercedes 1-2 Django. Congratulations. Take us through, number one, your quali lap and how that race was from your perspective.
Thank you, Tyson. That was one of the greatest laps that I've ever put in there, and I'm very proud of that lap. So during quali, for the first Q3, I set a banker, and those Q3 tires, I pulled them to Q2, so that I can set a banker with them as well. And I made a mistake. I broke my wing during that run. And that's why I was like P8 or P9 or something. And I told Sita, I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to be kicked out. I won't make it to Q3. So luckily I made it, and I went for a banker in Q3, and I saw Sihle posting a very quick lap. So I was like, okay, you know what, let me go out after him because I know the track might ramp up very quickly. And it did, as you can see. So it worked well in my advantage. Going into the race, it was chaos because I disconnected, and this game is it's so crazy, man. But yeah, I disconnected, and then I came back. I was P3. Luckily, Max had a drive-through penalty. I don't know how, but we celebrate those. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, carry on.
To use strategy wisely. Pit in the right times.
And you did, and it was so beautiful watching you and Sihle do your thing. I wish I could put into words the excitement in the watching audience, both in quali and in the race itself. Everybody is salivating to see what you guys are going to do within the team versus each other and versus the grid, because there's so much pace that has just come into this league this season. Congratulations, gentlemen, to all three of you. We will see you in the next race. Those are your podium finishers. The rookies, that being Moteo Mekwa, Max in P3. The three-time champion will not go down without a fight. That's Sihle finishing P2. And the one, the only rookie, Django, lighting things up in the top tier Breakaway League Racing. Congratulations, gentlemen. We will see you next time. And just catching up with the final comments here. Definitely Duke loved it. Nintendo Wii was cheering on Mex, and he made it onto the podium. Fastest lap by a mile, says Man Ray, talking about his former teammate Sihle. And Sihle, you just found your match. We're all just looking forward to a beautiful season. Congratulations, gentlemen, showing your class and your pedigree. We'll see you next time.
All right. I've been wanting to say this. It's hammer time. 2023. Let's go.
It's hammer time. It's Hamilton and Russell in the Mercedes. It's going to be beautiful stuff. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. It's been a beautiful, dramatic race. We will see you for our coming race, which will be I'm just opening up my schedule. It's going to be in Australia. Oh, I cannot wait. So we'll see you. Remember, Tier 2 races at 8 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Tier 1 races on Thursdays and Tuesdays, depending, of course, on the race schedule. And those races start at 7:30. So thank you very much, everybody. We will see you next time. Thank you and good night.